Hustle. Get the business, build the business, then you get the cash. Then you flip it, we unscripted, don't forget to laugh. Hustle. Don't forget to laugh. Grind hard, align stars, and as the time pass, hustle. And humor by task, we get the last laugh. Hustle. And humor, now tap in.
Yo, welcome back to another episode. What's going on, beautiful people? Welcome back to another episode of Hustle and Humor, where we grind hard but laugh harder. Today, we got an episode that y'all are gonna have to watch on replay today, because I gotta point some things out right quick as we get started. You might notice my guest today has some very good genetics. You might even like, man, that's a handsome young man over there. Like, what do he got going on? You might even notice his voice inflection sounds similar to mine. Well, it's because we both came out from the same apartment. We both grew up in the same little space. We outgrew it eventually. But today's guest, there's nobody else. It's just me and the bloodline. Me and my little big brother. He only like 5 or 6 inches taller than me. It's my little big brother. Give it up for the other McDavid. The actually smarter McDavid, as we call him in the family. The one who actually went to college and did something with his life. Give it up for my little brother, Maurice McDavid. Woohoo!
Yeah. Good to be here.
Yeah. Tell the people about you. Oh, snap. Tell the people about yourself.
Yeah, well, I survived, and what I mean by that is to have Henry as your older brother is a survival experience.
Facts.
You understand what I'm saying? Just it's funny because we both do the same thing. He talked about the smarter McDavid, but for sure, we both are in this education game.
True, we're going to talk about that.
Definitely invested in young people, trying to help them figure some things out. And one thing I will say for sure, Henry, and I don't know if I tell you this enough, but like the whole concept of consciousness, the idea of Black identity, you put me on game to that, really, as you were kind of coming into the nation.
Okay.
That was something that really developed for me right then and there.
It's kind of hard in DHS. It's kind of hard.
I was about to say, right? You know what I'm saying? So starting the Black Student Union, all of those different things, definitely huge. So I appreciate that, and trying to continue that work as a principal and in ministry and in everything else. So
I'm gonna tell you, I was crazy. I was preparing for this episode. I was gonna do it the same way we do every other episode, but then I was like, first of all, my little brother already in the barbecue. What y'all talking about? Okay? If I'm in the barbecue, he in the barbecue. So we ain't gotta get no passes to get in. The fam is good around here. So I thought about it. I said, my brother's in education. Now he went the educated route to prove his education, right? He actually graduated with a college degree. He speaks fluent Spanish. How many dialects of Spanish?
Spain, Mexico, Dominican,
all of that. So if your girl is Mexican, he could take her if he wanted.
You could definitely tell he's McDavid, but he not like Henry McDavid. Henry McDavid with a flex right there.
Hey, no, definitely. Definitely. Hey, I would have been talking to all the mamacitas out there right now. All the little mamacitas.
La verdad es que sí, yo puedo hacerlo. Todo está bien.
You see what I'm saying? That's what
Todo
I'm
está
talking about.
bien. Es que
What I'm
yo
talking
puedo
about.
hacerlo, pero
You know
no
what
es
I'm saying?
necesario.
I don't know what he just said, but it sounds good to me. Your girl at home right now, like, damn, what'd he say? You know what I'm saying?
Margaritas and tacos.
Nachos, tacos, all of that. You know what I'm saying? Ice outside looking like, what'd he say? Hey, man, Ice, don't be playing them games with us, all right? We'll get on your ass quick. All right, so we both in the field of education, like he mentioned. He's a principal. By default, I'm a principal, right? We both do public speaking. We both publish authors. I mean, get up to my mama right quick. I get up to my mama right quick. Like, my mama produced winners around here, so I don't know what y'all, so I was going to do this like a normal episode, but then I was like, I realized whenever we have like a holiday, I was like, the same stuff we talk about then is podcast worthy. So we're just gonna run it the sthe way. So today, we'll talk about culture, education, politics, religion, media, the same stuff we always talk about. It's just
all the no-nos.
All the no-nos, right? All the no-nos.
Say.
Like, hopefully I don't get my brother fired.
I was about to say, the views expressed today do not represent my school district.
Me?
He is here on his own.
I'm here on my own accord.
I don't have to answer to nobody. You know what I'm saying? So it's different. But you did just open a school. That's, props for that. Talk about that. How's that going?
So first off, the school is named Dr. Leroy A. Mitchell Elementary School.
Shout out to Dr. Mitchell.
Shout out No Shoes.
No shoes is crazy.
So you got to understand, right? Like the school is named Dr. Leroy.
Right, Leroy.
Bruce
Leroy.
Leroy, right? You know what I'm saying?
right
Dr.
there.
Leroy A. Mitchell Elementary School. I know Dr. Mitchell. Dr. Mitchell is still with us on this side of eternity, right? And so got a chance. He's come, he's spoken to the students, all types of incredible things. What I will say about Mitchell Elementary School is it is 71% African American.
That's dangerous minds off top.
You know what I'm saying?
1%.
71% is over 80% free and reduced lunch. So
Poverty.
even our folks that are not black are.
So you got poor white and all the blacks,
Right,
basically.
right. You know, but there's something incredible about that because the neighborhood in which the school is located had been bussed out to everywhere else, right? So they took them and separated them and put them everywhere else. Well, now they have a community school. You get to walk across the street and come and be a part of
And
it.
that neighborhood, by the way, is now officially the hood.
Well, okay, there is
From what I've heard.
there is
I
that.
haven't lived there, but I have heard.
Here's what I'll tell you. You got Mike's Tobacco. Okay.
Right.
You got the vape shop next to it. Oh,
Right.
yeah.
The
Then you
liquor
got
store.
literally liquor store, homeless shelter.
Damn.
Right? Like legitimately, whoever was on the city planning board at the time that they allowed 2 liquor stores to go
Next to
right next to the homeless
The
shelter.
planning commission was like, just pattern it after Compton.
That seems to be working well.
Yeah.
So they did all of that, and despite all of that, we still finna kill the game, and that's why I'm
That's
glad
what's
to be
up.
the principal.
That's what's
right?
up.
Because I believe 110% that we still gonna kill the game. We're gonna build community. We're gonna build up families. We're gonna build up children, and it's going to work. And so I think that's it. Like if you don't have that. If you got
You
folks
gotta
in there
have
who
faith
don't
that-
believe in it,
DC said something to me the other day. I don't know if he realized how revolutionary it was, but he pointed something out that's philosophical, therapeutic. He said, hoes are just good women with trauma, and even though the premise.
because when you started with hoes, I was like, I was waiting for something real deep, and you started with hoes, and I was like, wait, pause.
But wait, wait, see where we going, right?
I like this. I
Let's
like
see
this.
where we going, right? Because people disrespect women like, oh, they some hoes, right? But really, if you really actually talk to not just hoes, but anybody, you start finding out all of us are just people with trauma, right? And then once you start to dig into the trauma, you're like, oh, that's why they're that way. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I use hoes as the basis because that was the conversation. But really, we all just people with trauma. And then in your situation, where you have a school full of our people, I'm already knowing just based on the country, there's a lot of trauma. You know what I'm saying? So to be able to have that type of school and have positive results, light years ahead of a lot of just the progressive liberal, which we know what those terms mean. Progressive and liberal. Yeah, we know what that means. So kudos to that. That's dope.
So can I ask a question? So since you said the school is 71% African American, with that, what type of subsidies or resources come from the state? Because it's a public school, correct?
Or lack thereof.
Correct.
Right. So what is it that's needed, and what is it that is given based off of that statistic?
Yeah, so that's a great question. There's a couple of things to think about. Number one is we know that African American children in general, and particularly African American boys, are over-identified, right, in terms of special education.
Facts.
So I'll also share with you that the number of IEPs we have in this building, right, is wild. And then on top of that, we have IEP specialized programs that our building also houses, right? And so we also have, right, it's called our SOUL program, which is for our students with more complex needs. We have our intensive program, 4th and 5th graders who need intense academic support. And so again, right, the reason we put those programs there is because we wanted kids who live in the neighborhood and need access to those
Did you say one of those programs
programs.
called the SOUL program?
SOUL.
So like that's my soul brother?
No, SOAL,
okay.
specialized opportunities.
I had to clear it up. I was like, yo,
Specialized opportunities.
71% black, we need a soul program. We got a soul
We got a
trade?
soul program.
Okay.
Yeah, specialized opportunities for academic and life skills. So I mention all of that because we do get special education dollars that come in.
Right.
But we started the school year with 3 resource paraprofessionals, right? Like your teaching assistants. Now we are up to 8, and I literally am hiring 2 more because we needed that. We started with 3 social workers. We've added a 4th because we needed that. We started with a principal, assistant principal, and a dean. We've added a 2nd dean because we've needed that, right? And so fortunately, we've been in a situation where we've been able to add some of those resources.
Hold on, let me ask you this. What grades does your school cover? And I'm asking for a reason. I'm asking a follow-up question.
Yeah, kindergarten through 5th grade.
So statistically speaking, black boys, when they hit 5th grade, that's the thing. When black boys hit 5th grade, statistically speaking, they fall way off. So with your school, are you all able, and I mean, it's your first year, so you may not be able to have a trend yet from going forward, but in your school, is the idea that y'all can take that 5th grade drop off and keep it pushing into the future?
Well, that is 110% the goal. I'm looking at, in particular, 3rd grade reading,
Right.
5th
That's
grade
for prisons.
math.
Right.
If you are not reading on grade level at the end of 3rd grade,
The prisons are already looking.
prisons are being built.
Right.
And unfortunately, right, and I'm sure we'll talk about this later, but I go in on the 4th Sunday of every month. I was supposed to go today, but I'm in a little bit of a sabbatical. But I go on the 4th Sunday of every month to Dekalb County Jail and do jail ministry. And the number of times I've walked in and seen, "What up, Mr. McDavid?"
That's crazy.
Right, and it's my former students.
Higher education.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah, right.
Ultimate higher education.
And unfortunately, many times those with IEPs, right? So they had been called special education in school, and as a result, were not prepared to come out on the other side. So I'm very aware of like all of that, literally seeing it face to face, and thinking to myself, okay, I have a job to do. We have a job to do.
Can we say what IEP stands for the general audience?
Absolutely. So an IEP, I know educators are real good at jargon, bro. We got IEPs, 504s, you got ADA.
Don't forget 304s. That's a different ballgame.
Hey, see, you back to the other one. So yeah, IEP is an individualized education program, and it is a plan that is written for students who are considered to have a disability in one of 14 federally recognized categories. So it could be autism, it could be a cognitive disability, it could be a specific learning disability in reading or in math, vision, hearing, all of those different pieces. So emotional disorder or disability.
I know it has a stigma on it, but just logically speaking, if a student has an individualized education program that they're a part of, wouldn't statistically that child graduate and move at a higher rate or a quicker rate?
So that's a great question. Here's the truth. Too many educators are like, yo, I know they're struggling, but they got an IEP, so that's why. So the IEP actually becomes the reason why we accept their failure instead of the reason why we need to use that plan to lift them up, right? So people will look at their whole grade, their whole class grades and be like, okay, well, 80% of the kids passed if you don't include the kids with IEPs, right?
That's crazy. Which is 3 children out of a classroom of 30.
Right.
Because all the other 27 got IEPs.
Yeah. So if you think about the idea that we know they've been identified with a specific learning disability. And I think a lot about this video I saw Dr. Umar, talking about like, why would you let these people label your kid as this? And then, so again, I sit on both sides of things. I understand what he was trying to say, but also, but what I will say is too many times we use that as a reason for why it's okay for them to fail instead of a reason, right, to say, no, we've literally built a plan for these folks to be able to achieve at grade level. I'll give you a quick example. If a kid struggles with reading, decoding words, right, maybe they see things flipped, or maybe they just really don't understand phonemic awareness or graphemes or whatever it is, okay, then we need to get them a strategy to still be able to access the content and the knowledge even if it's not necessarily going to be being able to decode every word individually.
So would you say that IEPs or the practice thereof is ineffective because of the stigma that goes with students who are in these IEP programs, and the unwillingness to bring new innovative ideas into a traditional based institution.
Yeah, unfortunately,
we can talk that shit sometime over here.
Like, damn, people said that? What?
yeah.
Thought y'all was hood.
So unfortunately, yeah. I mean, there are times where it is ineffective. Here, ultimately, when you look at education, too often, what is bringing success is individual principals, individual teachers, individual schools that are doing something, and we're not willing to look at things. Right? My goal as a principal is not to have one or two classrooms that are killing it.
Right.
Whatever they're doing, we got to replicate that so that way any kid in any classroom can come in and be ready to move to that next grade, right? Mm-hmm. And so that means I'm sitting down with all three of my special education teachers, right, that are at the resource level, and all three of my soul teachers and my intensive teacher, and saying, okay, teachers. How do we? it is what it is.
But
they snuck that one in.
Let's add complexity to it, though, right? So let's add some complexity to it, because this is education solutions sound great until we start adding the complexity to it, and this is where it starts getting funky. One of the biggest problems with education, as I know you know, is parents, right? Is just like the initial layer. Because if you have an uneducated parent, like I had a parent tell me, can you do math with my child first? I can't help my child with fractions. And I'm like, do you spend money? You know what I'm saying? Like, money is literally fractions. Like, it's not like, so we talk about parents, but when you talk about parents, like I've seen some parents working in the public school out here that the child don't stand a chance. You're like, you want to give the child a plan and a solution to be successful, but you gotta, if the soil is already coming with acid rain, you know what I'm saying? It's hard to grow a healthy tree in an acid rain environment. Basically what I'm saying is, we start looking at different layers but start with parenting. How are y'all dealing with like parenting? Because that's huge. Like even for us in private school, parenting is huge. Like
parents are them IEPs.
Man, yeah. Matter of fact, even if they didn't, they should have had IEPs.
Look,
you know what I'm saying?
So I've got a mom at my building who it has taken up until this month in the school year.
What month is this right now for everybody watching?
This is March.
So we talking about second semester, y'all.
It has taken up to this point for our phone calls not to result in her cursing me out.
Crazy.
Now listen, I'm a child of God. Thank Him for the grace and mercy that He has given me. I try to show that same grace and mercy to other folks.
I'm also a child of God, but if you come at me with that energy, this is different over here at Kick It First. If you come at me with that energy, it will be met not only with an equal, but a greater response. Because I can go there if we got to go there.
Every once in a while, that spirit of Tobey and Gunwick pops up. Try Jesus.
Don't try me.
Don't try me.
Because I throw hands.
You know what I'm saying? But again, I'm serving at the will of the public.
Right. It's
and
different
so
for you. It's different. It's different.
I've got to do what I've got to do. But it has taken up to this point, right? And it's really, really interesting because we have had multiple parent events in which we are trying to build those relationships. And just like our students, I've got this large chunk where I feel like I've got a good, solid relationship. I've got some that I feel like I'm really close with. And then I have some that I'm like, man, if I'm going to have trouble, it's going to be one of these few folks, and I'm going to have that trouble time and time again.
The non-involved.
Right. So, or when they are involved, it's never my kid's fault. It's never my fault, right? There is a lack of accountability.
Yeah.
Listen, y'all, I'm Black. My assistant principal's Black. One of my deans is Black. My office professional is Black. We are the blackest staff in our district. So I want you to know you don't get to come in here and just talk that, well, it's racist, y'all white folks this and y'all white. Nope. Nope. Now you got to look at me. You got to look me square in the eye and know that I am going to ask you to be accountable for your child.
Well, I will say this, though, just so you know, this to give you some inspiration. On a Sunday, even God don't got 100% acceptance.
Yo,
the man
listen.
that created a whole universe, planets orbiting, got stars, quasars, nebulas, speed of light, quantum mechanics, and even God with all of that. Give you birth in your mama's womb, put the food in your mama's breast. He raised you up from a child, and even still, like, nah, I'm atheist. You know what I'm saying?
Right,
if
right.
God don't got 100% acceptance,
Nah,
how do we look, you know?
So since your school is 71% black, and what would be the percentage of IEP students do you have? Roughly.
Yeah, so we are at about 25%.
25%. So if you're
But keep in mind, we have those specialized programs, right? So we have
Those
three
deter?
classrooms that are self-contained,
Mm-hmm.
right? Students with more complex needs, right? So autism, Down syndrome, right? Cognitive disabilities, and then we have an additional self-contained classroom with those students with the academic and intensive academic needs. And so I mention that only because that does up our number a little bit.
So that makes your numbers higher or lower?
It makes our numbers higher.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right. The state of Illinois says you should not be above 15% IEPs,
But you at 25
and we're at 25.
because of the specialized programs that the district put.
Partially because of the programs. We also
You
have
say you're 25%.
yeah, right. But what I'm saying is we also have a high number of kids who are considered resource level, right? Which means they're sitting in the general education classroom, but with an IEP, so they get pulled out and work with a special education teacher
And that's part of
on
that
reading,
25%?
and that's part of that 25%, right? And that number, if we were to remove those specialized programs, we still would be
At 25%?
high.
That's crazy.
Right, we still would be high. We still would definitely be over that 15% that's recommended.
17, 20%.
Yeah, I would say probably 20%. Yeah.
Now, is this that your district's expectation of success the same for you as, say, a different school?
Now this is where I'm going to get in trouble a little bit.
That's the question.
Because we opened this year. Everything we've done this year is for the first time.
Yeah.
Right. There's no
Right.
baseline to go off of.
So we I'll give you, just operationally, I had a whole plan in May of 2025 of how we were going to do arrival and dismissal. Over 400 children, right? Many of whom are walking in and out. Some are coming through the car line. Very few going and getting on the bus and going to the YMCA or whatever. So I had a whole mindset about how we were going to do arrival and dismissal. Middle of September, I was like, no, this isn't it. We got to do something different, right? Because all of that was hypothetical until it wasn't. And then in practice, I quickly learned, okay, this is not working for what we actually need, right? So I say all of that and I use that operational piece because then on the academic side of things, right, we also are still figuring out, oh, this is different. One of the issues is I feel like we are slightly scared to have the conversation about this being different. Nobody wants to really acknowledge the fact that the same students that had been split into 3 and 4 different schools and had some issues there
Still have.
are now here in one building, and they were mad that we were having issues.
That's crazy.
I said, no, wait a second.
That's crazy.
You got a call from these 4 moms that you got a call from at the district office. You got those same 4 calls last year, but they were at 4 different schools. This year, they just happen to be all at my building.
Answer this question how you will. Is there a black expectation? Because really what it comes down to is that's the question being asked. Like, is there a black expectation that because you're black, you have black staff, you're in the hood, is there an expectation that now somehow your blackness can solve the problem?
Inside of the same
Inside
system.
of the same system, right? Will your blackness be the solution to that's the question.
So you all, I'm sure, are familiar with the concept of the white savior, right, in education, right? We talk about it in movies like, Freedom Writers, where Hillary Swank's character, The Last Negro starring Tom Cruise. You know what I'm saying?
Malcolm X, starring Leonardo DiCaprio.
And Tom Hanks.
Yeah. As the Honorable Elijah Muhammad.
Oh, good.
So there is also, and I've discovered this right now, having gone through my master's program to get my principal leadership, having gone through my EDS program to get my superintendency certification, when I walk in the room, and I promise you, if my podcast partner was here today, she would tell you, and she would have ragged on me, because there are liberal white women who cry tears at just the mere thought
I'll be thinking
that
they cry tears for Emmett
That
Till.
you're there.
you know, that I'm here. And I've overcome, a single mother household. My mother was an RN, y'all. You know what I'm saying? Like, she has college degrees, bro.
They give you the everybody hates Chris treatment. Like, we know how it was in the ghetto. With your family from the projects, we know. How many times was your older brother stabbed? You're like what?
like EG, yes, was Section 8, but
come on.
Yeah,
it
come
was
on.
a townhouse.
It was nice.
Definitely
We
Medicare
had
laws.
grass, garages. We had
And
second
they came
floors.
and molded for us,
We had
bro.
4 bedrooms. What are we talking about here?
Bro.
4 bedrooms. What are we talking about here?
So there's a couple of things that I have realized in this process, though, is I did grow up in Dekalb. I grew up black. I had the link card. I had Section 8. I ran the streets right in the neighborhood where my school currently is, but I didn't run it in that neighborhood.
No, that's a different neighborhood now.
That's a different neighborhood right
Completely
now.
different neighborhood.
mentality.
There's a different
Yeah.
mentality right now. There's a shift, right? So I think that's number one. And actually, I had somebody in leadership tell me that she said, Maurice, I thought because you were black that you would automatically understand the families that you were serving, but now I don't think that you do.
Damn, they checked your black card.
That's a slight.
We might have to get this Wakanda forever.
I was
song.
about to say, so
That's a slight.
so
a dig.
there's a
That's a dig.
whole thing that I really could go with there, and,
That's a
and we could
micro-
really
Because
get
it's
into that.
assumed that black people are a monolith.
Yeah.
It's assumed. It's just automatically given, like, yo, you're black, so therefore you can relate to all other black people simply because you're black, right? And that
Word is
rule,
bond, son.
Yeah,
Right?
that rule
Like,
only applies
come
to
in.
us, though. Because with white people, we start asking questions like, tell me about your serial killer friends.
Right.
They like, oh, I don't have any serial killer friends. Yeah, but statistically speaking, if there's gonna be a serial killer,
Right.
he's coming from y'all,
Right.
right? But he doesn't speak for me. But when it comes to black people, it's like, how's Cardi B doing? Like, I never met Cardi B. You know what I'm saying? Like, I never met Cardi. What are you talking about?
How's Shannon Sharp doing?
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Like, what's going on here, man?
Yeah, so there's a little bit of that, and I think I think again that was a slight. I just want to call that out.
Yeah.
I walked away feeling slighted.
Should have stolen her.
And but again,
Yeah.
truth be told, I also recognize, like, because we had a girl, she was our director of diversity, equity, and inclusion. She's now our director of improvement and innovation, but she had been principal at the middle school while I was teaching Spanish there. And this girl had gotten in trouble, and the girl told this lady, Dr. Parker, she said, because Dr. Parker was like, I grew up on the west side of Chicago, da-da-da-da. And she was trying to make that connection. And she said, yeah, but you don't live where I live right now. You don't hear gunshots outside of your window. And Dr. Parker said, nothing, right? Because what do you say to that, right? There's a reality to that. But that being said, I am showing up. I'm showing up. I'm loving you. I'm loving your family. I'm showing up. I come and I park my car right here in this neighborhood, and we go to work together every single day. And I need you to know that whatever I don't understand, I bet you can teach me. And I bet you I'm going to hear it and understand it better.
Let me say this culturally right quick, though. Let me say this
I
culturally.
got something I need to say too.
Yeah, let me say this culturally right quick, though. Jay-Z had a line that I love, and Jay-Z said, I don't have to hang out in the projects all day to brag about hanging out in the project always. Like, I'm locked into the hood 1,000%. But when I go home, it's a manicured lawn. Not only do we not have gunshots, I've never seen a police car in my neighborhood ever. Only thing I see in my neighborhood is old white women planting flowers all times of the day. It smells good. Everybody's lawn is manicured. It's not. And before that, my house before that was even more lit. We had basketball courts in the backyard and swimming pools, and it was lit. But I'm still plugged into the hood. So there's this thing of like, you gotta be in the hood to understand the hood. No, you don't. The hood is trauma, poverty, and generational curses unbroken combined in a one location where our people are at. And then on top of that, racism masks everything like it's not there and it's invisible. I don't need to survive in that or anymore to understand what's happening there. You know what I'm saying? But people make it seem like, yo, if you're not there, you don't understand. No, if I leave here right now, I can go to any project in this city and get love. Any project in this city. Like I'm respected all across the city, not because I'm on the block. Like I don't gotta hang out with the dope dealer while he's selling dope. You know what I'm saying? But case in point, brother just hit my phone. I don't know why he did it. He said, yo, you smoke? I said, no, I don't smoke, man. He said, if you know anybody, I got zips and pressure for this price. And I'm like, thank you for thinking of me. Right. I'd appreciate it. Yeah, I'd appreciate it if you didn't text that to my phone. So whatever you got going on. But I like the fact that you think I'm plugged in enough. That one, you know, I'm not going to the police to go snitch. You my man, so you solid. I'm solid. You solid. And number two, thank you for but no, I don't. And it's not. So there's that part of that monolith though is that like we all can reach each other. There's some black people I think is just crazy. You know what I'm saying? Like, no, I can't reach them. And here's the thing I learned, and DC can tell you too. You have certain people that can reach certain people no matter what. You know what I'm saying? Like there's certain people in our school that can only, a certain type of female got to reach this female this way. Or a certain type of man got to reach this man this way. Maybe I can't do it. Maybe DC can. Maybe he can't. Maybe the next person can. Like that's the reality of what we facing. But you know, they make it sound like, yo, you in the hood? You listen to hip hop? Alrighty then. Because black folks is like, it's given that we're a monolith, and we're just not a monolith, man. Right. We have diversity, we have culture, we have refinement, we have mores, we have things about ourselves that make us different. We're not all the same people. But DC, go ahead, man, get busy.
Yeah, as an educator inside of an oppressive system, what else do black educators bring to the teaching table for students, but outside of love? Because I hear that a lot. You know what I'm saying? Like, I come in here, I'm loving on these babies, da 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 da. Okay, what after that? What comes after that?
So there's a couple of folks who are some of my educational crushes, I guess you could say, right? Zaretta Hammond authored the book Culturally Responsive Teaching in the Brain, where she takes that foundational work of culturally responsive teaching and connects it actually into neuroscience. Culturally responsive pedagogy, though, was a term originally coined by Dr. Gloria Ladson-Billings, who is a professor emeritus at University of Wisconsin. And her original research done in the 80s was like, yo, some folks are having success with these black and brown people in the inner city. What are they doing? What are the things that really bring those people in, right? And it wasn't a specific teaching style. It wasn't all projects, you know, like, oh, we only do project-based learning, or we only do this, or we only do that. She narrowed it down to these three specific things, and I think that it is innate in many of our black teachers. Not all of them, because as they say, not all skin folk are kin folk, right?
Facts.
But there are these three things. Number one is high expectations. The idea, right, that like, oh, pobrecito. That's what we used to call it when I worked at a majority Latino school. I said, we got to avoid that pobrecito mentality, right, which is poor little baby. Oh, I gotta lower the standard because you know they didn't. No. I'll quote Lisette Jacobson, my co-author and business partner. She would regularly say, as principal, here is a granola bar because you're hungry and a pencil so you can still do the work. You don't get to miss out on doing the work because you're hungry, right? So eat the granola bar, do the work still. So high expectations is number one. Number two then is actually the development of a bicultural or multicultural competency. You have to understand that there are differences between cultures and you have to be able to move between them. Right. And so they always say that you got to know at least your culture and at least one other, right, to understand, right? And she didn't coin it this way, but we talk about it sometimes as just that ability to code switch, right? I need to know how to sit at the table with these people who can give me this grant money, and I need to know how to sit across the table from this mom who's ready to.
We keep having this conversation. Is that code switching, or is that under? That to me, that's just good business. What do you call it?
business acumen.
Yeah, that's just good business acumen. Because code switching kind of got a negative connotation to it.
It does have a negative connotation to it, and I'm not sure why. I'm gonna go off on this quick little digression here. My children, now for those of you who don't know, I'm married to a white woman. Have been
This nigga.
Everybody watching right now is like, he said he was conscious.
Hey,
What are we talking about,
They
right?
just cut the pod off.
They in the comments right now. I know
It
it.
was right there strong. It was like a YouTube video of the year.
Yeah. Look, it was the glasses.
Hey,
The
Dr.
glasses
Umar,
gave it
Dr.
away.
Umar over there looking like, see. Dr. Umar, your school ain't built yet. We don't want to hear nothing. These are actual school builders talking. Be quiet.
So here's what I'll say. My children are biracial. My children, though, listen, I just feel incredibly blessed, incredibly fortunate to have a wife who is more conscious than many other folks that I know, even who look like me. She has been humble and willing to learn and listen and recognize that there are experiences that I may have, that her children now may have, that she'll never fully know, but she wants to be open to hearing about them and working to have them happen less.
Sounds like some self-regulation going on there. I like that.
So that's a beautiful thing. Now, I mention that because my children were mocking my wife the other day because she said something. I don't even remember what she said. She said,
mama.
Huh?
They mama.
Yes.
Oh, this is crazy.
So, but they were mocking because she said it's hot up in this mug. Mug.
Amen.
And so my children were like, say that again?
Flamed her ass.
Mama been in the hood too long.
It's hot up in this mug. Said, Mom, don't say that. You don't say it right. Like, you got to say it like Dad. And I was like, what are y'all talking about? How do I say it? It's hot up in this mug. And they was like, see, you don't even say the whole G. You cut off. You cut off half the U.
That's a real
Slavery though. That's because the origins are from slavery.
But I had to express to them. I said, what y'all don't know though is that's actually my second language.
That's crazy.
I grew up in Dekalb saying mug. Until I got to middle school, and my brother told me, hey, you better fix this because your white friends, when you get to middle school, all of a sudden you being black is going to matter.
Yeah, true story.
So you better figure some things out. He also told me my football team was going to suck, and we went 0-9 freshman year, boy.
Man, that boy like a prophet out here, boy.
Man, I'm telling
hot
you,
trash.
crazy.
I'm talking about hot trash, boy.
But I had to explain to my children that really haven't been born and raised in DeKalb, the way that I speak, that ability to kind of make sure I'm connected, make sure I'm in, is something I did on purpose. It's something I did on purpose, right? I wanted to make sure, because I recognize this is not actually serving me well to speak only this way. In fact, I just had one of my homies, Dre, told me, Dre and I met the other day, we were talking about the school. He said, hey, Maurice.
Not Dre on the school board, Dre.
Dre, who was,
Ghost little brother.
Yeah. What the fuck going on? Yo, so
it's wild out there, bro. James St. Patrick Jr. out there. You feel me?
Dre says.
Shout out to Dre.
He says, "Hey, I appreciate how well spoken you are, brother. But some of these parents are not going to respond to that."
Nah, true.
He said, "I need you to be willing to get a little ignorant.
Like, untuck your shirt."
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Like
take the quarter zip off right quick.
You know what I'm saying? Right. Put the matcha down. And he said, I need you, because some of these folks are not they're going to come in your building and think that they can punk you if you don't come to them.
Hold on for a second. Hold that thought. This is the difference between private school and public school. We don't have that problem.
Yeah.
One, you pay to be here, right? It's given that if you're paying to be here, there's a certain level of expectation, but being a black school. But two, and I don't know if it's because it's a black school or if it's because of who we are, but it's kind of known when you come here, we're not going to take no shit from nobody. Sure. Like, if you, first of all, you bring in your child here because you trust us with your child. Let us work. Let us cook. But if you as the parent think that you about to run this school, so I'm going to give you a clean example. And this is a little bit clearer so I don't sound gangster. Because I just thought about it like, this just sounds like we running a Gestapo over here. So a certain parent came to us who's also an older woman. She wanted to put her child in the school. She goes through the intake process. We go through everything. Everything's cool. At the end of the thing, she says one last thing. So what's that? She said, when my son comes, he's going to wear a dress to school. And I was like, I had a process for a second in my mind. Like, can you repeat what you just said? She said, yeah, when my son comes to school, he's going to wear a dress to school. And I was like, I didn't want to. There's the intrusive thoughts, and there's self-regulation, right? So I'm like, no, ma'am. What are you talking about? We have a dress code. Any other private school you go to, they got a dress code. That's not part of our dress code. You can't do that. She said, well, if it's the right colors, can he wear it? No boy can wear a dress at my school. But if you want, what you can do is exit those doors, go into those streets, start your own school, and then your son can wear whatever you want to wear. But up in here, this is how we're going to do it. And I got no problem telling somebody to their face like what it is. Now, I brought DC in because he also had no problem telling nobody. And I was like, you know what? Let's create distance between what they think, what they perceive the ownership and the staff. So that way it's not like, man, the owners is super bogus, whatever. But at the end of the day, it is what it is. Like, you're not about to come here and talk crazy. You're not about to come here and run nothing. And all your traumas is your traumas. Your child just won't go to school here. And you'll figure it out on your own. But if you want this level of education, because what we're providing is a privilege. You know what I'm saying? And that's, even in public school though, that attitude should be prevalent for parents. It's like, listen, it's a privilege to be here. Because you could be in another situation and your child would not get the opportunities, or your child might not get the, not even the opportunities, but the chances. You know what I'm saying? Here, we might be more lenient and we might be more merciful to understand culturally. Over there, ain't no cultural understanding. It's school to prison pipeline. So when you come over here, I need some act right. And if you can't give me no act right, you might get smacked right. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's how the mentality should be with parents, because otherwise these parents are just the same students who didn't make it through school but had children.
Right. Yeah.
And now we're repeating that same cycle. You know what I'm saying?
We definitely have a student who had been considered for outplacement at his previous school, has come here and has had a beautiful year. Has he had some moments? Absolutely. But again, like you're saying, you got to understand, I'm looking at you. I know what it means if I put you in that outplacement. Right. I know what it means. I literally have looked into the eyes and dapped up with somebody behind bars who was outplaced, right? So like, I know what it means to get involved in that system. So I'm trying to tell you, but I think there's still just a lot of trust building that has to happen. It did not happen just because I showed up black. Right. That was not sufficient. So I got to show up. I got to put in the work. I got to do what I say I'm going to do.
Which is crazy though, because you've been an educator out there for a minute. So you would think that you would get some, leniency, but with black folks, it's kind of like being a stand-up comedian. There's a difference between being a stand-up comedian with a white audience and being a stand-up comedian with a black audience. When you go to that Apollo stage, you got to prove yourself. It don't matter what your background is. If you get on that Apollo stage, nobody's clapping until you force them to clap. Yeah. But with a white audience, they're going to give you some merciful points. They're going to clap just because. You know what I'm saying? But the same thing in education. Like in education, well, for y'all, because for us, it's known. Like the thing is, in our situation, it's like already established. Either you love or hate us. Because there's a bunch of folks that hate us. There's more that hate us than love us. But there's like, but for those who love us, it's like, listen, our child got a benefit that they never would have got anywhere else. You know what I'm saying?
So one of the things I was not ready for was some of the pushback, even from inside of the community, of I don't want my kids going to that ghetto school.
That's crazy.
Inside of the community, black folks saying, no, I liked my kid leaving this neighborhood. A white man Ice Cube is colder. Basically. The idea that, like, I had one mom tell me, well, look, I know for a fact that there's a trap house. Like across the street.
Oh, across the street. I thought you were going to say in the school. I'm like, God damn.
Across the street and a couple doors down. So no, I don't want my kids playing at a park across the street. When they come home, we're in the house. They get to play at school and that's it. That has loosened. That's loosened because this park is always on and popping. The park behind our school is always on and popping. Sometimes too popping, if I'll be honest. But after 4:30,
not your problem.
I'm out here.
How do y'all deal with the stereotypes? Because what you're talking about is, especially in black people, stereotype everything black, like the whole Willie Lynch syndrome. How do y'all deal with that? Because that's crazy. Reality.
That has been something that we have been incredibly intentional about. We did Black History Month like no other school did Black History Month. You got to, right? Because this is that. So we had some parents from other schools like, hey, I saw y'all did a whole, because we did a Black History Month business expo. Brought in local black businesses, came in and set up tables, and parents got to come in and shop right there in the neighborhood, and you know, so I think that has been part of it. But then we've also been intentional that from the beginning of the year until now, we will constantly be putting in front of folks black excellence, black excellence, black excellence. And I hate that term. I try not to use it too often because, right, it is oftentimes kind of partnered with black exceptionalism, right? And I want them to understand this is not the exception, right? That's the problem with like the exceptionalism piece is like, well, you're the exception to the rule. The rest of this is the rule. No. So we've partnered with black college organizations. You know, NIU is right there, so they're coming in. Again, I've been very intentional about building a staff that has black classroom teachers, black special education teachers, black paraprofessionals, right, who are in and building those relationships, showing up every day. And so I think parents at this point, those who still have some of those negative connotations, don't recognize that, like, hey, this is not about our school. This is about you at this point.
Yeah,
this is about your kid at this point.
Also, too, though, wait, I got a question then. So it's my understanding, and I talked to like a few different black educators out here in Rockford, and they make it sound like all of the schools have trouble getting black educators to come. But you running down a list of people that's willing to come to the school. What's different between what you saying and what we seeing out here? Because out here they be like, man, we can't get black educators. They won't come.
So I think I have a young staff, right? And one of the things that does happen is, as you are thinking about like the dating scene, like, all, you know, you looking for a partner, all those different things, you're looking for folks who can do hair, you're looking for, if you don't have all those things like readily available, the life, living a black life, right? If you don't have those things readily available, that becomes challenging. But we've built such a network internally that we put people on. Like, hey, you know, so-and-so does hair, and so you can go here and you can do there. And so we've kind of already built that in. I think the second piece is our principal and assistant principal are both black. And unabashedly black, right? Like willing to talk about it, willing to put in that work and be about it. I think that helps. I think the third thing, though, that I would say is just, again, intentionality. I definitely have gone out to recruit. I speak at NIU at least twice a year. So they gonna see me, they gonna know me, you know what I'm saying? Like, that's that brother, you know what I'm saying? Folk listen to the podcast, so that, you know, just any different things. I published a book last year. All of those things have been key ways for me to be able to connect with folks and like, yo, hey, we gonna put you on. Like, this is the real deal. I think it also helped that this was a brand new building. Right. Named after a black man. Like there, nobody internally is hiding the fact that this is the black school. You know what I'm saying?
Wait, how are white folks perceiving that though? Or have you ran into white folks like, I don't want my kid to go to that school because that's the black school?
I have I've had more emails and phone calls to the school board this year than and a lot of it is that I had a family.
Tragic.
I had a family who just said, you know, they calling my son white boy. You know, I don't want my kid to go here.
So they felt a little bit how we felt for 469 years.
So on the flip side of that, though, what I will say is that same family put in a request to move. That request was denied. And then I met with the parents. I met with the kid. I did a student support plan. The parents came to the movie night and were helping after the movie. And they said, hey, if we're going to be here, we might as well invest in. And so now their answer has been, we're going to invest here. A similar situation had this little girl who had never been in a school like ours. There had never been a school like ours, right in Dekalb. And so mom was worried about it. Today, her 3 best friends, little black girls, right? Because, again,
Trap Queen Susan.
For these kids, it's not really that big of a deal for the kids. The parents have been the ones who have been like, I don't know about this, you know.
I can already we actually, surprisingly enough, we have some white students or white families who came and like put their children in school. So we tell them off top, like, listen, the same way that y'all do social studies class in public school, we do Black history every week. Then they're like, oh, that's cool. I'm like, no, you don't understand. Let me give you more depth. When we say Black history, we're not just talking about Martin Luther King had a dream. We're not just talking about civil rights. We do black, watch this video and we'll get back to you. Be like, I'm black, y'all. I'm black, y'all. I'm blackity black and I'm black, y'all. Like, we do this type of history. So if you don't mind your child, because in public school, a lot of times our children feel that way, that a white child would feel being in our school, but we're not going to not teach what we teach simply because it makes you feel a certain way. Feelings ain't facts. You know what I'm saying? But facts are facts. So I can understand because we've had that. And we've had white families go through the entire intake process. Like, my child's going to start, and then either a child doesn't start or they only make it like a day because they realize, like, it's just, like, culturally, white people are not used to that type of system where you come in, you see me in DC when you come in. You know what I'm saying? Like, you see sisters, whatever, you come in. Even the decoration, the decor, if you go through the schools, like black women on the wall, black children playing, Muhammad Ali, Tupac. You know what I'm saying? Like, see the only thing in this school that's not necessarily black is either if it's Mario on the wall, Dragon Ball Z,
some fictional
Superman, Batman. You know what I'm saying? But like everything you see out there, Bob Marley, The Rock, like even the cultural expressions are black. So it's like, is the education good enough? That now we got some of the best numbers in the state. We are smoking everybody boots. So it's not that we can't educate, it's that it's black, unapologetically black. And because we don't have to mention it. You're gonna see it, you're gonna feel it when you come here. Like, we never have a time period like, hey y'all, this is the blackity black pledge. You know what I'm saying? Like, you just feel it.
Right.
So it's like, if you're a white family, because we've had a few, are you sure that you want to put little Johnny here? Because we don't want little Johnny coming home with a do-rag and cornrows, throwing up West Side. You know what I'm saying?
What happens? Or they go home and say, so Grandpa Johnny was from the Caucasus of the Mountains.
That part too. But why would we not teach it?
Right.
Because they don't have no problem teaching, like, black history. I remember being in school. Black history starts in slavery. Yep. It's like, what were black people doing before slavery? Did we exist before we were slaves, or did we only exist in the hulls of ships and then you brought us here
we were worshiping the devil?
Oh yeah, we was doing voodoo and we had bones in our noses dancing around fires, and then y'all saved us.
And then Egypt was white.
Egypt was white.
Egypt was white as could be, bro.
Mesopotamia was white. You know what I'm saying? Even Europe was white. And these are the great castles that the Europeans built. You're like, damn, the Moors didn't build those? You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So it's culturally, there's something there to that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, it definitely, I think, has all of those things. I think have taken a toll on me this year, man. It's been hard. I think that was one of the biggest pieces that I've walked away with, like, up to this point in the year, was just like, oh man, I've been a principal for 4 years. I've been an assistant principal. I've been a dean. I've taught middle school. I've done all of these different things. I understand these academic structures, right? I can do all of these things. And then I did this. And this was just different. I'll be honest. I have not thought about quitting, doing something else ever in my career as much as I did this fall.
That's crazy.
Right? Like through November, like stomach aches. I've lost
weight from the stress.
30 pounds. Dang. You know what I'm saying? Like, it is real. And yet, ultimately, I think as a person of faith, I keep coming back to, like, yo, but God has put me here in this season, and something being hard does not mean it's not for you.
Right.
It's just hard.
Let me ask you a question about something we talked about. You said, this was dope to me because this is where I was at my therapy journey. You said your school was teaching the children about, like, regulation and stuff like that, and dysregulation. And talk about that, because to me, that's where I'm at in therapy right now. So it's kind of dope that y'all doing that.
Yeah, we regularly use what's called the zones of regulation, right? And so you have where you really want to be to do your most optimal learning is the green zone.
Right.
That's where your brain is settled. You feel safe. Right? Because they say if you don't feel safe with the person teaching you, your brain is literally it's firing like, oh, do I need to run? Do I need to fight?
You're
I'm argumentative.
You're right? Doing threat assessments. Absolutely.
There's the blue zone. I'm feeling down. I'm feeling sad, or I'm tired. Right? Red zone. I'm angry. I'm ready to fight. Right? Yellow zone. I'm just silly. Maybe I didn't get enough sleep, so now I'm wilding. So we talk to the kids about being able to say, here's what zone I'm in, and here are some strategies you can utilize to get back into that green zone.
That's
to
dope.
be in the position where you are doing optimal learning, right? And so it's really crazy to hear like a 5-year-old who just tore up the whole classroom, right? Like threw a train at the teacher's head. I was in the red zone. Yeah, you were. You were.
Yeah, yes, little Incredible Hulk.
Bro, I need you to go sit down somewhere, and we got to get back into that green zone.
That's crazy.
And again, with a 5-year-old, now I'm left with an option. I could suspend you, send you home the rest of the day, where you're probably going to learn how to be in what zone.
Right.
Because you get sent home for throwing a train.
You're not going to the
you
green
ain't
zone.
going to the green zone.
You're not.
Mama gonna meet you at home with the red zone.
Man.
Okay, and so, or I can keep you here, put you in our restorative room for the rest of the morning, and then try it again in the afternoon where you can access your learning again after you have re-regulated.
Wait, so is the restorative room like ISS?
It's like ISS. Our dean runs it. Yo, I gotta just mention we have 2 incredible deans. Her one dean, her name is Jane. She's been with us the whole year. White lady, taught 2nd grade out in Cortland. So this is all new to her, and yet she is killing the game. She's doing
back to school
phenomenal.
Like, yo, C's in the building.
Yeah, and then in January we added Janice, and Janice is a black woman who taught out west previous to coming to Dekalb, and I love watching her work because you said it earlier. You can reach some people, and other people can reach some people. And Janice has that ability to talk to some moms, just like mom to mom, and
That's what's up.
in ways that I'm not going to be effective. I better go sit in my office and do some scheduling while she's doing what she needs to do, because I wasn't going to be able to have that same conversation in that same way. But she's jumped right in, we all believe in the children. We all believe in that idea of regulation because it's been key. Now, what I'll tell you on the flip side of that is some of our teachers have struggled with regulation.
Teachers, I'm in the depressed zone.
Yeah, exactly, right? So some of them, I think, you talk about that fight, flight, or freeze. Some of them froze. And they're still on thawing.
You know what's crazy about that? So, because I'm learning about it myself, right? I'm still in that process, but it's crazy because I think about me growing up, right? Because being the first child, you're always the first experiment, right? Yeah. By the time it comes to you, it's like, oh, these are all the mistakes I made. We gonna gloss over those and do these, right? But I got suspended for fighting from kindergarten till sophomore year, every single year. But when I would get in a fight, from starting in kindergarten, I would come home, mama would be like, did you win the fight? Yeah. And if I won, mama would reward it with ice cream, right? We would take a Baskin Robbins when Baskin Robbins was still popping. Right. She would take me out for ice cream for winning the fight. So the way the reward system, dopamine works in your brain. Right. Not only did I get rewarded internally with dopamine, I physically got rewarded tangibly with ice cream, right? So now you're talking about regulation. My regulated spot is, I'm gonna whoop your ass. Because the more ass I whoop, the more rewarded
the sweeter
I get.
the ice cream,
you know
baby. Let's go. The sweeter the ice cream.
About to get all 31 of these flavors.
You know what I'm saying? Every flavor I done ran
tasted
through.
every
You feel
flavor.
me? Every flavor.
You are flavor 19 today, my boy.
So then I become an adult. And even though mama rewarded me, she's probably instilling dysregulation in me, right? Because as an adult, you can't just whoop everybody's ass, right? You can, but you're going to go to jail. Or you're going to fight somebody bigger than you. Or you're going to get shot. You're going to get stabbed, whatever. You can't just handle all your problems through fighting. So now, dysregulation is the way of life that I know. So now you're talking about not only are you... Because that concept in the classroom, I'm just assuming, it's almost like you're stepping into my personal life, right? Because learning to regulate is something that you either do or you don't do. But DC said it, regulation only comes into play in high stress situations, right? But when stress comes, how do you handle stress? So now I'm thinking about the teacher in the classroom who's in a stressful situation. These little hood children running around. When I was in the public school, they was talking crazy.
Yeah.
So they probably done said some stuff to you that's never been said to you before, right?
Yep.
They probably done made some threats, even if they can't carry them out. In the fourth graders can talk that talk.
Oh, yeah.
Right? So now you're in class shook and you're dysregulated because it's hard to stay regulated because maybe in your personal life you never had to. You was like me, or maybe you were, but now you're experiencing dysregulation in a different type of way because you just never had this experience before. You know what I'm saying? Like that to me, that's a crazy thing you got to deal with because we're dealing with that right now. We got new teachers in the building and like trying to get them to just be adults. Like, listen, something happens, handle it. Like, you don't got to come run and tell us every single thing. I'm like, oh, a student lost a shoe. Like, did you put it back on their foot?
It's not in here.
Yeah, I don't know why are you telling me? You know what I'm saying?
So I have nightmares now where I hear, did it? That's the chirp of the radio, right?
Radio chirp.
That radio chirp, and because it's, we need admin to, no, you don't need admin. Admin needs you. That's why we hired y'all, right? Because there's only 4 of us,
right?
And there's 80 of y'all. I hired you so that way you could address this situation. Did they swing on you? No.
Man.
Right? Like, so in fact, I just hired this lady to come in and be a building sub for us. And one of the questions was, okay, a student stands up, says something rude, and then storms out of class. What's your response? This black lady says something to me? I mean, it is what it is. You know, we'll talk through it. I'll let them know that they can't do that. Now, I need to make sure that they're in class or in the office. They got to be safe.
Right.
That's the right answer. The fact that they, you know, oh, well, they said so and such.
Yeah.
Bro.
But it goes back to what you said earlier, though, that poor little baby thing. Because here's the thing. If you act up, it's like, all right. Like we had a girl who used to hyperventilate when she had to do math. Every time her math book got pulled out, she, I can't breathe, I'm gonna die. He was like, listen, when you get through hyperventilating, 1 + 4 is still gonna be on a goddamn paper. You gotta figure out 1 + 4. You know what I'm saying? You can't get through life not knowing 1 + 4. Like, you gotta figure it out. So it doesn't matter. You can hyperventilate, you can call on Jesus, you can have the Holy Ghost. None of that's gonna save you from 1 + 4. You gotta figure it out. You gotta do it. And a lot of times, I'm gonna tell you what's dope. My guy, brother Brian, he got a book called Poison Soil, and it talks about exactly what you mentioned. Children live up to the standard you present for them. So if you give a child a standard that's way down here, it's like the phrase that Les Brown said: people don't aim high and miss, they aim low and hit. And that's how children are. Children, if you give them a low standard, they're gonna hit it. Here we tell children you gotta have a 94% to get an A. Guess what children do? They want the A. They're gonna go aim for the 94%. Or if you don't get it, this is why you didn't get it. No, you got a 93 in public school, it's an A. But this ain't public school, so here you gotta have a 94 to get an A.
I'm working my way through this article right now that is talking about the idea of stop meeting children where they're at. Mm-hmm. Raise the standard.
Yeah, no.
You gotta raise the standard. Listen, there is nothing more embarrassing than being an 8th grader reading at a 3rd grade reading level.
Except being a freshman reading at a 2nd grade.
That's why that nigga want to fight all the time.
That's why he wants to fight all the
That's why he
time.
wanna fight.
So the truth is we have in public school passed kids along year after year because we're worried about their social emotional. Mm-hmm. Listen, if you're really worried about their social emotional, don't put him with 13-year-olds who have no chill. 13-year-olds have no regulation. I think 13-year-olds have it, and then they lose it.
Closed it up. Kobe.
They lose it for a moment, and then they get it back somewhere. Because my son just turned 15. I'm watching him get it back a little bit. You know what I'm saying? But he had lost it for a while. They have no issue roasting you if you say Balooey? No, that's blue, my boy. What are you doing?
Yeah.
Right? And so we have to raise the standard. At my previous school building, I had a teacher come to me and she was like, hey, these kids are almost at grade level, but I cannot get them to move. What should I do? She was a 4th grade teacher. I said, give them 5th grade work.
Right.
Right? Because the answer too often is, well, just keep working with them at that end of 3rd grade. No. Give them 5th grade work.
Yeah.
Because you have such a relationship with them that they want to make you proud. They want to do what you believe in you can do.
I'm pretty sure it's the same both ways. Sometimes the children know it, but they underperform because you allow them to underperform.
Yeah,
so it's like,
yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, because here we create a culture. We just use my daughter as a benchmark, but it's like, listen, if she can do it, I know you can do it.
Right.
Children get jealous. Like, I definitely could do it. Then out of jealousy, you're competing for the top spot. Or, well, we got a little girl, Sophia. She's really smart. So if she get a good grade,
Yeah, that's my student.
oh, that he said, look, we got a little Anaya, right? That's his student.
That's my student,
But
too.
look, to me it don't matter. I got Samaya. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
I got the
So
standard
not only is
bearer.
that my
You know what I'm
student,
saying?
that's
I got the
my
standard
daughter.
bearer. You know what I'm saying? And she blood. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
I did that right
So
there.
even with Samaya as a standard, right? I placed it in the kids' heads last year. I'm like, ain't y'all tired of seeing Samaya win everything?
Everything.
I'm like, y'all not tired of that yet? You know, and I had a couple students, you know, they made it their personal mission. Now, I've seen they failed a lot. You know what I'm saying?
But they tried.
But they tried,
That's the
yeah.
thing.
And they kept upping it until Sophia finally did it.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And I didn't even think about it. Sophia came to me quietly, and was like, I did it, Mr. DC.
I beat
Samaya. I'm like, do you want me to make this announcement? She might comfort me.
I don't want to give
Right.
them no
It's like,
no
look,
locker room.
It's
you
like
know.
when we beat the Bulls when Jordan was
Right.
playing. Like, we beat them. But don't say nothing.
Yeah.
Don't say nothing. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna tell you what's crazy too. Samaya, because Samaya's definitely competitive like that. She wants to be the best, but she's now the fact that she's doing the college courses though,
Yeah.
is don't even. She like in Samaya's mind, she's like, those are children.
Yeah.
I'm a superhero. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's not even. I asked, like, you gonna come to school do this? She's like, Dad, they're not even in college. I'm like, yo, but as a dad, it's a proud dad moment.
Right,
You know what I'm
right.
saying? But no, that's the thing though. If you give children a standard, they're gonna try to live up to that standard.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? Because
Absolutely.
we had a little boy come to our school. This is actually changing the subject slightly back to what you just said. We had a little boy come to our school this year, and I only teach electives at the school. After that, I'm out, right? DC and them do all the real stuff, right? I'm just like the buffer, right? So he's in my class writing he writes a book because everybody has to publish a book every year. He gives me was supposed to be a book, and I start reading it. Not only is it one long run-on sentence, right? No punctuation. I mean, not even a capital letter to start. It's just the worst thing I've ever read in my life. So I asked him, I was like, my boy, take this back and go put some commas in there. And he says to me, what's a comma? How old is that little boy?
He's in 5th grade.
5th grade? So 5th grader asking me, what's a comma? So I'm like, nah, G, you ain't finna do this to me. You ain't finna give it to me like this. I go straight to DC class. Hey, this little boy just asked me, what's a comma? And then DC like, no, that's a real question. Like, he not trying to run game. Like, that's
Right,
real. Like,
right.
But I want to say he's an implant. He just came to us, right?
Yep.
And when parents tell us stuff in the intake meeting, they leave out small details like my child doesn't recognize punctuation, half the alphabet, and can only count to 4.
Okay,
Right?
okay,
They leave
all
all of
right.
that out.
Okay.
So you get this class like,
Minor thing.
This is a 5.
But these
right?
white people got my kids fucked
Yeah,
up.
yeah, like
Minor
it's not the white
things.
man, it's you. You didn't do what you. But in her case, it's not even her. The child came through the system. She
Okay.
picked him up. This is the condition he was in when she got him.
Yep.
So it's like whatever his original parents was doing, everybody dropped the ball along the way, and now you're here and you're like, hey, we got the miracle workers because they're black, and your blackness should be able to shine so bright that it's gonna fix not knowing what a comma is. Like, nah, we can't fix that. Like,
Yeah.
if you don't know what a comma, and we got one-on-one educators here. They got tutoring. We do everything is individualized. So, but even with all of that, you gotta want to know what a comma is. And he came here getting in trouble and stuff because he got some physical disabilities. And then on top of that, you're dumb. And it's like children recognize when they dumb. So what do you do instead of? You can either lock in and get better, or you can become like the class clown or whatever. Go anywhere in that dysregulation.
Right, right.
Line, and that's kind of how. Unfortunately, that's what we deal with too. It's like, all right, now the thing is, they got some of the best numbers in the state. They can work miracles. We can only work miracles with miracles. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
We can't work miracles with non-miracles.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
And I do think that's for sure one of the challenges of public school, right? Is like the state of Illinois says you have to go.
Yeah. No child left behind.
You have to go. You know, parents, if you don't send them, we're gonna come find you. You know what I'm saying? You're gonna have to go to truancy court and everything else. Actually, that is probably one of our biggest challenges this year is attendance. We got kids that have missed 30 and 40 days of school. If you multiply that by the hour of reading instruction that they should have gotten, well, now they've missed 40 hours of reading instruction.
Wait, I want to one-up you. Come back, hold your point. I want to one-up you. This is bogus. But I just gave a transcript for a little girl who went to our school for like 3 years. But I will say on her behalf, she had sickle cell.
Okay.
So she was out of school a lot.
Yep.
But so much so that when her people came to get her transcript and looked at it, they was like, is this accurate? I'm like, yeah, she has 0 credits. Because we don't just pass students along. It's
Right.
like, in order to, you got to be here long enough to pass a class. And it's not her fault. She's in the hospital. She's sick. You know what I'm saying? She got to go back. She has to get a blood transfusion weekly. So that takes her out of, that takes like 3 or 4 days out. Yep. That leaves you with 3 days. And if you got a headache on one day or migraine on one day where you can't do anything, now you got 2 days, and then you got to recover the next day. And now you're down to 1 day, but you got to get your energy back so you can go get your blood drawn the next day. And then at the end of the day, we just looked up and we was like, man, because me and DC talked before, and it's like, this family's paying tuition. They love the school. They give us major props. They even on our testimony page, everything. But at the same time, like, your child's been to school. In the 3 years she's been here, she might have been here. Would you say 30 days is pushing it?
Say maybe.
30 days is pushing, I think, over 3 years. It's like,
wow.
We can't work that type of mirror. But she's published books. She was well enough to be able to write a book without ChatGPT. Write a book, get it published, and then go market it. Not only did she get it marketed, she got it to like T-Boss from TLC, who also had sickle cell. Okay. Who was like, all right, when you come to Atlanta, I'm gonna help you push this book because I believe in like sickle cell and I believe in your cause. So she got positive outcome from the school. You know what I'm saying? But at the same time, it's like that math class. It's like, yo, I know you was behind, and you was behind when you got here because you never went to public school for the same reason. Right. So it's like, yo, nah, G, you gotta, you know what I'm saying? Because 4 + 1. At the end of the day, it's still going to be 4 + 1, and you got to figure that out. You know what I'm saying?
And you got to be able to decode these words. You got to, So again, there's so much that if you can't just show up, if you can't be here,
show up is crazy.
And again, when you talking about K-5, we're not really most of the time we're not talking about the children.
Right.
Yeah,
we're talking about the parents.
Yeah.
We're talking about the fact that, yo, mom, I need you to value this more than you value staying up late and kicking it. You running the streets, you this, that, or the other. You, and again, some of it is while I'm working a double or whatever it may be, right? And I honor that. And if we don't invest now,
I don't though. Let me tell you why. Because our mama worked.
Yeah.
And here's the thing: as parents, as responsible adults, right? If I know I gotta be somewhere, then the responsible thing is I'm going to make sure my daughter's taken care of. Right. I'm like, oh, you know what? I'm not going to be around at this time, so I'm going to reach out to whoever's in my support system and be like, I need my daughter to get to school, X, Y, and Z. Not taking that step is not on the child. That's on the parent. And it's like, but unless you're a parent, who a lot of our parents are, who never grew up, and if you stuck in Never Land, responsible, like that type of stuff don't even cross your mind to be like, you know what I'm saying? They say rich people think in future terms, poor people thinking it now. And so
there's so much of that immaturity that I see. I think the other piece though is, and one of the things that I feel like we need to work on then as a school building is how do we build community? Because that's the other piece. Mama had folks who she could call Glory and be like, Glory, I need you to go pick up Maurice. Gets done with practice at 5 o'clock. Right. I'm not going to be there. Right. These folks, I've asked, why didn't you come? Well, we didn't have a ride. Okay, but there's 600 children that live in the University Village.
Right.
And 250 of them are coming to my school.
Yeah.
They couldn't ride with any, I don't know them people. You lived right across the hall from this same family.
Yeah.
So how do we encourage that connection?
But culturally though, are they right? Because culturally, would you want to just send your children with just anybody?
No, I'm not asking you to send them with just anybody. I'm asking you to build community. Find the person you do trust.
But nowadays it's kind of hard.
Here's
though,
the problem.
Right? Isn't it?
I would accept that if y'all wasn't out in the parking lot drinking though on Friday night.
Oh, kicking it together.
Yeah, y'all kicking it together on Friday night, right?
Yeah, no, facts.
So, and where are your kids then? Off somewhere playing? You know what I'm saying? No, you better ask them, hey, I got to work this morning shift.
Here's what I'm saying. If you're out drinking Friday night, that's not the same responsible parent that's gonna be like, oh, I gotta take care of my children on Monday. Well, you know what I'm saying? Like the dynamics don't even match. Like, because here's the thing: not saying drinking in and of itself. Right. Responsible people drink.
Right.
But if it's just a description, like if you out hanging out drinking like that, you're probably not the responsible parent. It's different between, oh, I'm about to go get a drink, whatever, make sure my children are straight. Because people who make sure their children are straight, make sure their children are straight regardless. They might get high, they might drink. Hell, I know some responsible crackheads. They smoke crack, but they're responsible. So it's like.
Parents aren't.
You know what I'm saying?
Parents are not sending their children to school for education. They're sending them to school to be compliant because they have to, and number two, nigga, it's daycare. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Like it's free, especially public school. It's free daycare, and they're gonna give them. And you say y'all what 80%?
Yeah, free and reduced. So we give them breakfast, we give them lunch. We
got
a food. I was about to say we got a food bank that operates out of our building every Wednesday night.
You know how much money you saving on Link? What
I'm saying is that at the public school, education is like fourth on the list.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
it's fourth on the list. Even with teachers, because behavior is at the top. Can you act right while you're here? You know what I'm saying? So I think
which is so interesting because the amount of time we have spent this year talking about student behavior and internally, right? In fact, my direct supervisor just asked me, he said, Maurice, I need you to move from being nice to being kind. And he expressed it like this. He said, these people know you're a nice guy. You'll let stuff slide. I need to go to the doctor. Can I leave a little bit early? He said, and I love that about you. You're a nice guy. But clear is kind. Tell them what that expectation is and hold it to them. Not that you're being mean about it. You can still be very polite. Respectful. Right. But say, this is the expectation. Now, I mention all of that because, listen, some of these folks don't want to change how they're teaching. Did you know that boredom has the same impact on the brain as trauma? So if a kid is sitting in your class and you boring as ever, of course they acting a fool. Of course they, and so the truth of the matter is that one of the number one responses to child misbehavior at school is an engaging lesson. Something that they like, oh, what's he gonna say next? What's the next thing we're gonna learn?
So that goes to that position that you stated earlier that lady has, something about innovation.
Yeah.
What's the name of that position?
Director of Improvement and Innovation.
So this is the most important nigga in the building. You know what I'm saying? Like they need to be able to come up, like all the behavioral issues need to come through them. Some type of data. I don't know what needs to be done. I don't have the education for it, but that data needs to be deciphered and then implement it. You know what I'm saying? A plan needs to be made and needs to be implemented for innovation, especially like they want y'all to be successful, but gave y'all nothing to be successful, to be successful with. You know what I'm saying? You're getting poverty-stricken children who have trauma from home and non-engaged parents who also are the same recipients. You know what I'm saying? From a system that's very similar to what's going on. So I don't know, man. That's why I'm really interested to see what your measurables are. Right. For them to say this Leroy school is successful. Yeah. Right. You know what I'm saying? Instead of we send our babies there to get loved on. As a black educator and a black parent, shut that shit up.
You know what's dope about that too, DC? Because love is different depending on who's getting the love, who's giving the love. And like for me, my love for boys is strict discipline. Yes. Right? It's strict discipline. I don't coddle boys. When it's boys, it's straight discipline. Because when you get in the real world, all that lovey-dovey shit is out the window. The police ain't trying to hear none of that. It's how disciplined are you to, you know what I'm saying, to move through society discipline. But that's how I show love. Yeah. But the female teacher, she's gonna do it completely different than how I do it. You know what I'm saying? So that you're right about that. I just want to love on them. Like define that.
Well, so that's the piece though, right? Is the preacher in me always comes back to, if you love me, keep my commandments is what Jesus said, right? So love is more than just this emotion. It's more than making you feel a certain way.
An expectation.
Love is an action, right? And it requires in return, right? It's this exchange of action, right? And so I do think that there's a piece to that. I think we use that love phrase, and I now listening to you, I'm probably going to use it less because I'm right there with you. But what it looks like in turn, right, is I believe in you, and because I believe in you, I'm going to hold you to it. Mm-hmm. And right, my mother loved me enough to sometimes do what she had to do when I wasn't meeting the expectation. You know what I'm saying? And what's funny, you mentioned it earlier, talking about the first time versus second time. Now, I'm not gonna put my brother on blast, but I saw his report card.
Nigga, we know.
And I had the audacity to come home with a B- one time. My mother was livid. I said, hold on. Wait a minute.
My big brother ain't even been to school this semester.
Wait just a second. I'm taking geometry my freshman year. That was his senior year class. Yeah. And Mama, what's going on? And her answer was, She said, "You've given me steak this whole time.
Right.
Don't try to offer me no burger."
Yeah.
That's it.
You came with some Aldi brand. You know what I'm saying?
Don't try to offer me no
Man.
burger. And so I think recognizing, right, if that kid's very best is that burger, I need it well done. I need the cheese to be on there. I
Yeah,
need the,
facts.
right, whatever it is, I cannot accept less than
Yeah,
that.
I need your best.
You know what's
Right.
crazy? So this kid, I'm at the mall. This happened probably last year. I was at the mall. This kid comes up to me. He was like, "Brother Henry, that's you?" I'm looking like, "Who is this dude?" I'm like, "Yeah, what's up?" He was like, "Yo, man, I just want to tell you how you changed my life." Now, not a student who went to our school. I was like, "What happened? Like, what? Like, how do I know you? Because I don't even know who this kid is." He's like, "Yo, you came and spoke at my school." I was like, "Yeah." I was like, "What I speak about? Because I changed your life." Something, whatever he said. This is what he tells me. He said, "You spoke about excellence in a way of like being better. You challenged me." He said, apparently I must have said something to him. Whatever he said to me, I said something to him like, "That's weakness." And I was like, "You chose the weak route." You know, whatever he was into. And I was like, "You chose the weak route." I was like, "Because you're not a strong man." I was like, "You probably don't have men in your life." And he was like, "At the time, I wanted to fight you." Yeah. He was like, "I've
Say it
never
to my
had
face.
a man talk to me like that." He said,
talking to
so
me.
then he said, "So listen, I never forgot those words." He was like, "Now, I did do 2 years in the joint." He said, "Because I was robbing Mexicans." I was like, "Wait, what?"
That's
He
very
said-
specific.
He said,
That's
"Yeah,
very
it
specific. I was
very
robbing
specific.
Mexicans.
Illegal Mexicans at that." He said they couldn't report it.
thought he was
He said,
doing
"Who
God's
they
work.
gonna go
That's
to ICE?"
diabolical.
So he
That's
said he did 2
crazy.
years in the joint. He's like, "But when I got out, I never forgot none of the entrepreneur lessons that you taught." He said, "And now I got my own business. I'm doing X, Y, and Z. I got a lawn care business. We're doing all this stuff." He said, "And it's all because of you." And I was like, he's like, "I've been looking for you to tell you this for years." And I was like, you don't know the impact, right?
Right,
But
right.
it's like, but to me, that's what love should look like. You know what I'm saying? Like, you're loving on the babies when the strange kid that you don't know approaches you in the mall and is telling you how you changed their life, such as, whatever. Because a lot of times in like education, and at least out here in the public schools, when I worked out here, a lot of teachers are scared to really be themselves because the system traps you in a way where you can only do so much.
Right.
You're not even free to express yourself in a way where the children can connect with you, because they're like, "Oh, you got this violation, that violation." Like when I worked at Kennedy, they was like, "Oh, if the children get in a fight, you can't touch them. You have to, talk them out of it." I was like, "Man, let a little, let one of these little, you feel me?" I'm like, "Yo, I'm getting fired on that same day." I'm like, because my love for them won't allow me to let them hurt themselves or somebody else that I could stop the hurt by putting my hands on them, because that's what you do when children are fighting. You put your hands on them to break up the fight. You know what I'm saying? And it's like a lot of times in the public school, because we've had a lot of teachers come to us like, "Can we work for y'all?" And we was like, "We can't afford it. Like it's private schools. We can't afford the public salary because that money don't trickle down to us. We got to get it out the mud." You know what I'm saying? But a lot of public school teachers have come to us like, "My classroom exceeds, my school is trash," or "I want to do more, but I can't," or "The system is trapped," or "I got to teach." Like even teacher asked me, "Do we teach our children here? Do we make our children read? What's that bullshit? Romeo and Juliet, Huckleberry Finn, Of Mice and Men. What's the other one?"
Yeah, Mice and Men was lit.
Man, look, man, Of Mice and Men.
It's not
You know what I'm saying?
mandatory.
It's another one though. It's one that they always got to read.
What's the one
To
with
Kill a
All the books,
Mockingbird.
To Kill a Mockingbird. Yeah. I'm like,
My son
I'm
just
like,
finished it.
nah. When you
He
come
just
here,
finished it.
When you come here,
They still got niggas reading.
They
That's
still
crazy.
reading To Kill a Mockingbird.
that's crazy, G.
But are they still reading Roll of Thunder, Hear My Cry?
Now I loved that. Now
I don't
you
even
know
know
what
what that
they've
is, and I'm
added
glad I
as a
don't.
parallel to Kill a Mockingbird, and they did this while I was there as dean. I went through, worked with the team. They've added The Hate You Give.
Okay.
So they read The Hate You Give as this kind of dual comparison.
So it's not just
right?
all the full white supremacy playlist books.
Well, so unfortunately, it still kind of is, right? Because what you have is you have y'all doing mid show batteries.
man.
Hey, y'all own it, bro.
Hey,
this
man.
is
We gotta
like
keep the
NASCAR.
show rolling, man.
This is like NASCAR.
We gotta keep the show rolling.
Yeah. So, but what you have is in The Hate You Give, the police shoot and kill her friend, right? And in To Kill a Mockingbird, of course, right? the black guy gets put on trial for supposedly killing, right? And so you still have the justice system. The only difference is in To Kill a Mockingbird, you have, you know, the white dad who is the lawyer, and he's kind of that hero. And then in The Hate You Give, it's the little black girl who stands up and finds her voice to speak to power. I'm
gonna tell you why I hate it. Right, this is from my trauma. When I was in school, it was me and Renita, the only two black kids in our class of like 30. Right,
Henry, we had the same teacher, and she did the same thing to me. This is
trauma.
Years
Comes
later.
to the board and it's like, this book has this word. I swear she took a giant piece of chalk this long, right? Takes two hands in. I like, you know how the chalkboard like has limits. You know, it's got a top and bottom. It's like from the bottom to the top. In. Capital G. I'm like, damn, you just gone. She's like,
favorite day.
This word. I'm like, do you guys mind if we say this word? They're like, you know what I'm saying? It's like, yo, what the fuck is going on?
Well,
like,
here's the thing. 6 years later, it's just me.
Oh, that's crazy.
I'm the only kid in that freshman English class.
That's crazy.
Because I was on, you know, the honors track or whatever.
Oh, yeah.
So it's me sitting in there, and she goes, so how do you all feel about this, right?
Nice. She called you a you all.
You all
the monolith.
feel about this.
Crazy.
Made direct eye contact. Hey, she was honestly one of my favorite teachers too, but that moment was definitely. So then I ended up, because the N-word shows up in The Hate You Give, so I ended up running a circle. Now, initially when they introduced The Hate You Give, only the lower English class read it. If you were in regular or honors, you didn't read The Hate You Give. It was only for the.
If my students gonna do an N-word in the book, read this autobiography of Malcolm X, because they're gonna use nigga in a different context, and then you're gonna see Malcolm evolve from that type of nigga to the nigga they hate. It's gonna be a different type of nigga that we're talking about. You know what I'm saying?
But
like,
yeah, I pushed in as a dean in all of the classes, and we'd kind of do this. Here's an approach to the N-word in literacy, right? Or in literature, and should you read it out loud and da 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 da. And we went all the way through it. I said, no. Why do you want to use it?
So,
because I had a teacher push back on me. It's the way that the literature is written. That's why. I said, yeah.
The way it's always been.
So you want authentic racism in your classroom? You want the authentic racism?
It's as American pie. Like, so is chattel slavery.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
yeah.
So is chattel slavery.
Okay, we can't say the word. Can we auction off a few of them?
Yeah. I said Obama's in office. Do you know? Obama's in office right now.
We did let him. So what do you think about this then? What do you think about? Because you said. Kindergarten through 5th grade?
Kindergarten through 5th grade.
Are your children affected yet at that time by, are your children affected by like the media? Because books is media, but I mean like social media, music, movies, entertainment. Because at my age, at our age, our 4th grade is already being affected by it. That's why I'm asking.
Absolutely. Beyond a shadow of a doubt, so number one, I think, Ray, you get some of the trending stuff, right? So just the change in language, you get the, not too much now, not too much on so-and-so, right? Or,
Clock that T.
Clock that,
Clock
your outfit is T. Your outfit is T. So you definitely get some of that, but I think even more than that,
the weirdos with the skippity riz stuff.
Fortunately,
whatever.
most of that has died. When I'll say 6, 7 just to push their buttons, right? Mr. McDavid that died in 2025, right? So
that's wild.
But the way that the children dress, the way that the children, I think, view themselves is so impacted, right? There are whole folks out there whose job it is to be influencers,
right?
And our children are being influenced. I mean, again, I told you, over 80% free and reduced lunch. I've never seen as many children with True Religion and fresh Jordans, like monthly fresh Jordans. And I'm like, yo, I just had to get a little bonus check to go get my Jordans, and y'all coming in here.
But you also culturally came in rocking the Jordans.
I did.
So now the poor kid who's like, even my principal got these Walmart Shacks.
So
you know what I'm saying?
I will say, I'm in a shirt and tie probably about 2 days a week. and the rest of the time,
2 more days than me.
I try to find that balance. My assistant principal, unless it's a special event, that man is in jeans, a different type of Air Force Ones, and like he's rocking his Omega Sci-Fi, you know.
Straight gay.
Yeah, right, gay. You know what I'm saying? So, and he's 10 years older than me, I think. So it's just it is really interesting. We are like, I try to just be part of whatever we're gonna have here, right? It's different again than any other place, but definitely I think we see that influence. Some of the sexuality stuff I'm seeing show up, like I've dealt more this past week with people calling one another gay and bullying people about being gay and stuff like.
But this generation is like, because this generation is more
so gay.
They're so more. They're more receptive to it. Like, huh?
They're definitely more. Well, because I think we've been positioned now where if you don't buy into it, you're a bigot, right?
Right.
And nobody wants to be a bigot, right? Nobody wants to. And again, I have moms walk in, you know, where it's 2 moms walking into the building, and so I see that happening. You know, I just had this situation where you got this little girl who says I'm a tomboy, but then the little boy was like, oh, that means she's gay, and I was like, no, a tomboy is just somebody. She plays basketball, right? Like she has shorts on underneath her sweats.
Right.
That's all a tomboy is. That has nothing to do with who she has a crush on. And she was like, I don't have a crush on nobody. I'm still in here trying to play basketball. That's it, you know.
She ain't got to the WNBA level yet, huh?
Right.
That baby fighting for her sexuality.
Yeah, but again, that desire to label some of those things is really wild. I will say, contrary to popular belief, nobody in public school is in here whispering in the kids' ears, "You're gay, you're trans." Nobody's doing that.
At lunchtime, they're like, "He just ate a glizzy." That shit's crazy.
I did have to have a conversation about calling them glizzies. We can't do that. That's just a hot dog.
Yo, that in and of itself is
he
crazy.
Ate 2 glizzies. No, don't shout that across the lunchroom, please.
Put mustard on the glizzy.
Yeah. I don't even know where that came from. I just heard it on social media one day.
I don't know. Influenced.
Yeah, man.
We've been influenced.
Yeah, I got a little boy in our school, this boy Eddie, and I didn't even peep it. He came to me, he was like, yo, Brother Henry, I want to be like you when I get older. I was like, what you mean? He's like, you never wear the same pair of shoes to school 2 days in a row. He's like, how many shoes do you have? I was like, it didn't cross my mind. I got shoes for outfits. You know what I'm saying? Like,
right.
But children get influenced. You just never know. You know what I'm saying? And he got both his parents in his life. So that's married, educated. I think his dad is a what? Engineer, aerodynamic engineer, something like that. His mom just got her master's or doctorate or something like that. Yeah, like well educated.
Yeah.
But you just never know where the influence gonna fall. You know what I'm saying? Like, damn, you.
Them degrees nice, but where you get them shoes?
Yeah, exactly. It's like, man, my parents got degrees and no Jordans.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
so it's funny you say that. I literally just said to Samantha, we were going out Friday night. My homie DJ Toxic, he was throwing a little like funk and house music event over at Fatty's. Now we don't drink, but we was gonna go over there and show my buddy some love. So we getting ready to go in. So I'm trying to think about what I'm going to wear. You know, I put on these new Jordans that I just got that got the Spike Lee on the back, you know, and the Brooklyn on the other side. You know, I'm finna go in, you know, I'm stunting on them a little bit or whatever, you know, got the Louis Vuitton belt on or whatever, you know.
So he about to use some of that principal money.
Yeah, but I said to my wife, I said, I remember when we were probably just back in Dekalb, or maybe when Ezekiel had just started school, and I remember seeing this black father who was with a white woman, and I remember thinking, he looks like such a nerd. He had on one of them fisherman sweaters, you know, like the ones that fold over on the back.
Damn.
And I was like, he looks like, you know, because Jaheim, was that his name? He could pull that off, the R&B singer. Yeah. He could pull that off because he was an R&B singer.
He could sing.
They're always cold for some reason, right? And so he could pull it off. But I said, this brother looks so nerdy. I never want to be that. But I also fully recognize I can't come in no cool jacket and the ripped jeans either, because they gonna be like, nah, that's not you.
Because you gotta stick to your. I don't dress in baggy clothes like it's the '90s, but I also don't dress like when I be seeing when the children come to school and I be like, yo, that shit looks terrible to me. It looks tacky. You know what I'm saying? Like, because I realized too of this about the black community is out of slavery, before commercialism and before all this other stuff, I was like, we wore suits. Like, if you go look at most of us being hung from trees and all that, you see us in suits. Into the 50s,
standing in front of the car,
civil rights,
leaning, you know, with
suits.
the,
you know what I'm saying? Clean. So, the same type of dress you see in centers, right? Like, we was clean. Black people have always been clean, but the commercialism kind of changed how we dress. But, like, what we accept now as cool, we don't understand how trends work, and we don't understand how think tanks control trends. And so it's like, what was popular in the 70s became popular in the 90s. What was popular in the 80s became popular in the 2000s. Like, stuff's just full circle. Because I see certain stuff and I be like, yo, that shit look trash. You know what I'm saying? But I'm also at an age, it's unking them. I realize I'm at
full
unking them age,
mode.
right? Full unk stage, right? But Jay-Z had this line, clearly because the only person I quote is Hov, right? But Jay-Z had a line, would you rather be old rich me or broke you? You know what I'm saying? I tell that to the shorties and it changes the whole dynamic. You know what I'm saying? Would you rather be old rich me or broke
I
you?
had a fifth grader this had to be Thursday. Miss McDavid, bro, you old, bro. You old. I said, hey, I think I saw you this morning. How did you get to school? He said, what you mean? I said, were you like this riding your bike? I said, guess what? I pulled up in my whip. Yeah, exactly. I can drive, brother. You 6 years from being able to drive.
I always ask children, I be like,
that's unfair, man.
I always ask children, I be like, your mommy still buy your Spider-Man underwear?
Yeah,
Who buys your Spider-Man underwear for you? You know what I'm saying? Like, you gotta drive slow, homie. We had this man back in the day before he went crazy. His name was Kanye. And Kanye gave us the greatest advice.
The old Kanye.
You know, drive slow, homie. Slow down. I heard somebody say, you're gonna be a child for about 20 years. You're gonna be an adult for the rest of your life.
Yeah.
Enjoy your childhood. Take it slow, man. Like, don't.
All right, so you mentioned that just made me think of this, and I just want to share this real quick because I've been sharing it with everybody because of how sad it made me, so y'all gonna feel the sadness, okay?
Here it goes, sadness, y'all. Let's go viral.
Listen, I heard somebody say, by the time your child reaches the age of 12, you have spent 75% of the time that you're gonna spend with them the rest of their lives.
Yeah.
Dang, that is crazy.
Yeah.
That is crazy. You know what, though?
Wild, because my son turned 15, right? He's now 3 years away from, like, he wants to go to Howard.
Yeah, he
wants to go to Howard. He's not like trying to go to NIU and like live in my. No, he wants to go to DC.
Somebody's trying to go to HBCUs in Houston. She's like, well, Dad, I got like Clark. I'm like, dang, okay.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? That's crazy.
And so all of a sudden, even right now, by the time I get home from work, I'm picking him up from volleyball. We spend that 6 minutes from the high school home. Dang. He goes downstairs, does his stuff. You know, I go hoop or whatever, and then good night. I'll see you tomorrow.
Crazy. Now, so, luckily, my daughter goes to my school, right? So I can see a little bit more. But she's in college. She comes to school, twice a week? Twice a week. My daughter only comes to school twice a week. She's like, I got college courses. I ain't got time for that high school stuff y'all talking about. I got college courses, right? It's crazy. So, all right, look, I'm going to switch the subject from education because what time is it? We out here cooking. Oh, dang. All right. So, look, I'm gonna get some of these in. This is religion, right? This is interesting. Not in a way of attacking religion, but I'm trying to get your opinions, right? Because you said you're a preacher, right? So you preach every Sunday, and you preach in Spanish, which is crazy, right? So I just seen this clip on YouTube that said the universe is always expanding, but if everything that exists is the universe, what is the universe expanding into? It starts to touch religion in a different way because you start realizing, like, I don't understand none of the stuff I thought I knew, right? Even if you're big on physics, even if you study quantum mechanics, all that. If the universe is expanding, what is the universe expanding into? Because it's like, in my mind, it's like if this is the universe, that's all that exists is just this.
Right.
If it's expanding into something, does a something already exist? How can the universe expand into nothing and still get bigger or still expand if there's nothing there for it to expand into except itself? If that make any sense. Or is this one of those moments I should have said, hits blunt. You know what I'm saying?
So I think the easy, not a lot of thought, right, faith answer is it expands into God.
I would challenge that.
You got to explain that to me.
Okay.
Because I don't know what that means.
So watch this. the book of John says God is a spirit, and they that worship him must worship him in spirit and in truth.
Right.
Right? So we understand that there is both that there is spirit,
and then there's truth.
And there is truth, but also that there is spirit, and then there is physical.
Right.
Okay? So if God created the universe, he was outside of it to speak it into being.
Huh?
If God created the universe, he was outside of it to speak it into being.
Did it have to be?
Well, to speak it into being, he would have to be outside of it.
Right. So then it expands into him. Now, this is my 30-second. You just asked me the question. So I'm not going to say, if you want to challenge it, perfect. Let's have the conversation.
I'm just wondering, does he have to be, though? Because, okay, this is where religion gets really confusing. Or science and religion start getting confusing. If we go clearly off of like Bible, Quran, whatever, right? If in the beginning there was nothing, what is nothing?
That's not true.
But that's not what the Bible says.
What does
the
it
Bible
say?
says, in the beginning, there was God.
And he came onto earth and went
No,
across
wait.
the waters.
In the beginning there was darkness, right?
No. So watch this. Genesis 1:1. In the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth. So watch this. There's actually, I would argue, a philosophical statement made right there. In the beginning, God.
So what's
In
God's
the beginning.
In the beginning of what?
In the beginning of, well, so we use
of this existence.
we use beginning to measure time. We say that there's a beginning and that there's an end,
But
right?
time measures motion, right? Because science and physicists say that actually time. Okay, so check this out. This shit is about to be. It's blunt, right?
Right here with you.
Because time, we perceive time to move linear, but time actually doesn't move linear. We know that time. We know that motion dictates time too, right? Like if you're traveling faster, time slows down, right? And then, so I heard Neil Tyson deGrasse. We talked about this on my list. Whatever.
Yeah, he was on my podcast or whatever.
Oh, yeah,
Black Bilingue. Check us out.
Yeah, y'all gotta check that out then. That's dope. If it really happened.
No, he out there. We out there. YouTube.
So he said if two people are looking at the exact same spot and one person is in motion, the other person is still, you can both look at the sky at the same time and see Andromeda, but one person is seeing Andromeda 3 days in the future, and because they're in motion, the person that's still is seeing Andromeda 3 days before. So time, as we understand it, is not this linear construct, right? Because if we're both next to each other, but we're seeing 3 days in the future, theoretically, you should be able to, if you could time travel or somehow get there, you should be able to travel to the old day and tell those people on day one, this is what's coming on day 3, so change your decisions. Like maybe you do some catastrophic coming, you can save their life, whatever, I don't know. But if time works that way, then theoretically, you should be able to do it. But time doesn't travel linear. You know what I'm saying? It's almost like, this is the best way to explain to me. If you get a book, a chapter book, the entire book already exists, right? Chapter 8 exists, but you're in chapter 1. You're experiencing chapter 1, but chapter 8 already exists. The whole book is already there. You're just moving through the book. It's not linear. You're just moving through the book at your pace, but the entire book already exists because the Bible talks about books, right? The Bible is like book this book, or even the Messiah going to get a book, right? It's like, but if your life is like a book, you might be on chapter, however old you are. Like I say, okay, I'm on chapter 20. Okay, cool, you're on chapter 20. But the past, right? You never experienced the past. You never experienced the future. You only experience the present
moment.
And you only experience that because time is what we use to measure motion. But at the same time, I said at the same time, that's a paradox in and of itself, right? At the same time that we're talking about time to measure, does the time really exist? You know what I'm saying? Like it's
so I'll come back to a couple of scriptures, right? God is described in both the Hebrew Bible as well as the New Testament as both Alpha and Omega. He is the beginning and the end, right? So I think to your point, there is an ability to exist outside of
space-time.
Our concept of time. By the way, there's a really good TED talk about how time itself can be racist.
Damn, that's crazy.
Yo, it's actually kind of like the way that we use the way that time is used within a capitalist system.
Diabolical.
Right? The way that time is used within a capitalist system actually produces racial inequities. But anyways, that's neither here nor there.
Crazy.
So if he is Alpha and Omega, beginning and the end, right? He is the author and the finisher of our faith, right? That means that I think, to your point, right, he's already written some things, but then you can get into some what would be called like Western philosophy of the idea of an infinite, right? We start getting into some Marvel concepts, right? Where you get into an infinite number of options, and that God is so wise that he knows the infinite number of possibilities.
Because quantum mechanics shows that. Quantum mechanics shows that until something is observed, until an atom, electron, a photon, until it's observed, it appears in a wave form and doesn't become a particle form until it's observed, right? That the double slit experiment shows that if one particle passes through that double slit, it appears as a waveform and interrupts itself, except for when it's observed, then it completely changes. And even if you look at it as a waveform, you observe the wave, then go back once it's made a decision, it can change the past, right? That's what the double slit experiment shows. So it's like, for me, whoever created all of this, right? Like whatever name, Allah, Buddha, Jesus, Krishna, Muhammad, whatever your religious super friend is, like, you know how I had that phrase? I guess the point I'm trying to get to too is, you know how I had a phrase like science and religion don't mix? Uh-huh. I don't think that's a true statement. I think we just don't understand how science and religion mix. But I think that I think there is no difference between science and religion. They're almost the same thing, because who is the ultimate scientist? Well, it's the creator.
They say science is religion proven. You know what I'm saying? I've heard that before, where they say that religion is a belief and science is the fact of said belief.
Right, because science can be wrong or right all the time, right? Science in and of itself, but science is just the study of whatever you're studying. You know what I'm saying?
So it's interesting though, because things that were considered science at one point, then when disproven, right? There were folks who were adamant that the earth was flat.
And still to this day, I just did a podcast.
I say were. There are people that are adamant, right? And so when you knew better, then you did better. There were folks who said, hey, the way that you fight that disease is you put a leech on them, right? Mm-hmm. And you leech out the disease. And then all of a sudden they figured out, oh wait, the leech may actually be contributing to the spread of this disease, right? Because we're using the same leech. And now right? And so, or that water, stagnant water is what caused malaria. No, the mosquitoes being born in that stagnant water were carrying them, right? And so things that once were science then become something else. Here's where I'll say the biggest difference between science and at least faith, I'll say.
Because faith is different, though.
Faith is different.
Atheists can have faith.
They can. Faith does not require vision. It does, right? Faith is that belief before it's seen. If I say your sweatshirt is red, that doesn't require faith. I'm literally looking at it right now. I see it already, right? So there's already evidence that is red, right? But if I say, man, I believe I have faith that I'm going to get home safely. Oh my goodness, knock on wood, right? You know, because now that's yet to come to pass, right? And then when I get home safely, I don't have to have faith that I'm going to get home safely anymore. I've already arrived there, and so I think about that in terms of religion, because most religions require some amount of faith, because whether it is God or it is Allah, right? Which I often think back to some of our early conversations of like, Allah is the Arabic name of God, you know. Whether you say, but anyways, the premise is that I've yet to see this God face to face. But I believe that he has created these things. I can see his work, right? But I haven't seen him. And so I still have to some degree, have this faith until I get an opportunity to see him.
No, right? True. So go back to this. It's called the Andromeda Paradox, by the way. I got it from Tyson, whatever. You know,
Neil deGrasse Tyson. Yeah, we're friends. Yeah.
Oh, that's he was
He was on
like,
the.
yeah, he's on my pod, you know what I'm saying?
That's fine.
Who was on your pod, by the way? Oh, me? Like, oh. He's like, just little me? Like, you know what I'm saying? So back to the Andromeda paradox, though, right? The first time I heard it, I was like, oh, this makes sense. Because if you're Christian, Muslim, Jew, right? The Western religions, you believe in a book, right? New Testament, Old Testament, Injil, whatever. You believe in a book. But it makes sense what Dr. Tyson said, because we believe in a book full of prophecy. Meaning, these people, whoever they were able to write what will happen, and then it did happen, right? They were able to see something way in the future that we couldn't see. But in a short time period, they already proved that two people can be at the same point, and one person sees this day, and one person sees something 3 days into the future. So now, that means there is a science, we may not know it right now, but there has to be a science where you can now see 1,000 years into the future. So let's say something like a day with God's like 1,000 years to us.
Right.
It makes sense that the prophets could see into the future to write what would happen. Like, so whether people believe it or not, I agree with our Hebrew brothers that was like the prophecy about a people going into slavery for 400 years. Well, only people that fit the description is us, right? So it's like, in order to see that, you had to be at a certain spot with a certain amount of motion to be able to see that. And now you get this thing called scripture, which has all these prophecies in it. No matter which scripture you believe, it's all these prophecies.
When you say a certain spot with a certain type of motion, can you break that a little bit down? Like, what do you mean by that?
Yeah, just the same thing that he said. He said that if me and Maurice are sitting here, right? If he's stagnant, he's sitting in the chair, and I run past him, but we're both looking up at the same point, we're going to see two different things completely. He's going to see something because he's not in motion. His motion is still. He's going to see 3 days before. I'm going to see 3 days ahead, based on what's called the Andromeda paradox, right? So in that case, then if you have a certain type of motion, you're going to see something different than maybe the person that can't see, right? So when it comes to the prophets, I don't know what kind of motion they got to be in. Maybe the gravitron,
Right?
at the amusement park, and they can see whatever. You know what I'm saying? But it's just like motion affects because think about light. We're seeing stars right now that died millions of years ago. You know what I'm saying?
But their
we're
light
seeing
is
the light.
still
The light's
traveling
still traveling because light takes so long to travel. You know what I'm saying?
Okay, so this is where I get, right? Like, I be with the deep shit, right? But then
Hits blunt.
Yeah, but then when we hit here, right?
Right.
When we hit here, I get a little, there's some turbulence going on for me. Because for me, I'm like, okay, here it is, 2026, right?
Mm-hmm.
How do they know the information about how fast the light is traveling from the dead stars and shit back then, when now it's supposed to be the technology boom? You know what I'm saying? So like, how do we know that? Who came up with that philosophy? You know what I'm saying? And what steps do they do to come to that conclusion? Like, that bothers me. It bothers me a lot. It bothers me a lot sometimes I choose to go sit in the Matrix.
Hey,
you know what I'm saying?
I'm gonna tell you this from my point of view, right? If what the Honorable Elijah Muhammad said about black people is true, it makes sense. The Honorable Elijah Muhammad said that the universe was built on 60,000 books of mathematics, but because we put white people in power, they have one, right? He said, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad talked about in the 30s about all these, how we buried cities. He said we buried cities underneath the rainforest, the desert, the oceans. Like, we buried cities, in particular our libraries, so that they couldn't get access to them. Now, with LiDAR, they're flying over to Amazon like, damn, there's 5 cities buried underneath each other. Or if you think about when the conquistadors came into like Brazil, right? They wrote stories in their journals about these great grand cities. When they came back 100 years later, the cities was gone. It was just rainforest. But underneath those cities that they talked about were cities buried underneath those cities. And even there's a city in the Holy Quran that Muslims assumed was what's the word? Like fantasy. Until they started digging in Africa and they found the exact city they was looking for. It was like, so then it was like, did this shit really happen? Because most of what I've read in the Bible and Quran never happened.
Very far.
You know what I'm saying? Like, there's never a time, nobody named Moses ever went to Egypt. There was never slaves. Like, that never happened. But when you start finding like historical documents, so we know flood, it's not possible for the earth to flood, right? It's just not, there's no mathematical way that the earth could flood everything. Not to go over the point of Mount Everest, right? Because we got all those numbers nowadays. So could a flood have happened? Yes. Could a flood have happened on the scale? And if the flood did happen, how big was the ark? And how did the animals from the Arctic and the desert and the jungle and the mountains, like, they can't all be together at the same place. You know what I'm saying? Like, and what did the lion eat? Because they eat me, like all that stuff. But I'm making this point that shit. What point am I making? Shit, it's one of those high moments, right? Blunt gets hit, but like, I guess initially, if what the Honorable Elijah Muhammad said, that's what I was saying. If what he said was true, that there's all these books of mathematics that exist that we don't have access to, it explains a lot. You know what I'm saying? Because we do know whoever the people were on the planet before the modern rulership, they were way more advanced. When I was in Mexico at Chichen Itza, NASA said that the space station that they had in Chichen Itza is off because it was like 0.000000001 decimal off from what NASA had, and it was like, but when you look at what the Mayans actually had, they had space stations. They knew about other planets. They knew about all kind of interplanetary stuff. You know what I'm saying? And the Mayans was passed down from like the Aztec, passed down from the what's the dark skin?
Oh, the Olmecs.
The Olmecs, right? And then he's like, oh, these are just black people. We don't know no information. Only thing we found is a helmet that looks like the Sentinels from X-Men. We don't know nothing about them though, right? But like, it
does look like the Sentinels from
X-Men. It looks like the X-Men Sentinels. Like, we don't have that information, so it's like we don't know what was happening in Mesopotamia. We don't really. Even Egypt right now, in Cairo, underneath the pyramids, they started digging like, wait, there's all kind of stuff under the pyramids that they like, yo, what happened? So all we really know is that these people were way more advanced, all the way down to this. You can fact check this because this in modern day. I don't know what city it is, but it's someplace in Florida. I forget what it's called. There's a white guy in the 1900s, white guy, who built like this structure. It's like a building or something like that, the same way they built the pyramids. He only worked on it at night. Nobody ever saw how he did it, and he was moving like 10,000 pound or 10,000 ton slabs to build this thing. It's in Florida right now. Nobody knows how he did it, but it's the same science that they used to build the pyramids. He did it at night by himself, no other help, right? And so it's one of those like fringe science things, like who is this dude and what did he know? Because he would never. The government was trying to get him to say how he built it. He's like, if I give y'all these secrets, then y'all could have power that you can't have or whatever. So it's like when it comes to like the religion and God talk, I don't have all the answers. I ain't gonna act like I do.
Real talk.
The only thing I do know for sure is if it's a giant, geometry, senior year, right? Geometry. If the people who were here before, which were black, by the way, let's just get that out there. If those black people had access to, if there's math, it got to be math that exists that we don't know. Bees fly. We know bees fly, and it's impossible for bees to fly, but we watch bees fly. You know what I'm saying? Like there has to be math that exists that we just don't know. So we can't figure, like even quantum mechanics runs into all these different problems, and we can't solve it because we don't got the math to solve it. It just doesn't exist.
So that's interesting because like that's something that I don't think we often think about. There are math researchers. You ever think about that?
That's crazy.
Right. There are people who spend their entire career, right? They get their PhD in math. And I'm like, yo, 2 + 2 just equals 4. Like, what are we talking about? What else is there? But I remember even like the idea of imaginary numbers. If you got to that part of 2i, right? And imaginary number. What is that?
Nigga, what is y'all talking
Yeah.
What if numbers was imaginary?
right? But the idea that somebody can sit and that at some point within the last 100 years, there were math problems that had been unsolvable that now have been solved. Mm-hmm. And there are still problems that are unsolvable that will eventually, lets us know, right? Like math is not done, right? And the idea that it existed in great amounts before and then was reduced and now, you're working back to it, especially you get into AI stuff and now all of a sudden you just put something in and let it take 10 gallons of water
they're saying how quantum computers will be able to do it like, I don't know, it's like per second, what like our most powerful computers now can do in like 100 years. They can do it per second. Because they say quantum computers can tap into multiple multiverses or something like that. But
that's like, another thing.
But we know that quantum science is real, right? We know the movies makes it fantasy, right? Mm-hmm. Like Tony Stark and all that stuff. But we know quantum computing is real. We know that we can observe in real time. Like I want to take my students to Fermi Lab, but I realized we don't have enough, right? But they talked about it. Like we understand quantum entanglement is a real thing. If this atom spins, whatever happens to this photon or this electron or whatever over here, instantly happens to this one. It doesn't matter how close or how far away they are. And the scientists are like, oh, they're on the same wavelength. we perceive it as two different particles, but it's really one wavelength, right? So if it happens here, it could be 100 billion light years away over there that instantly happen over there. But understanding it, like if you ask me, well, give us a real case use. Hey, I just principal at a school. You know
even the idea of the photon, right? The photon, which has the ability to be both a wave and a particle, right? Like that idea that it can through wave create this damage or directly through hitting, right? Create these different cancers and stuff, right? Because you're getting, well, some folks get hit with too many photons, right? Not typically an issue for us more pigmented folk, but
black people.
Mexicans. Well, I was about to say, but some light-skinned folk,
I got sunburned before, so
Hey, can I tell y'all one of my favorite stories? Because since I mentioned this, my assistant principal and I were talking. We were talking about like when we got into a fight in school, and he said, "Man, the last time I got into a fight, I think I was in 7th grade." And he's light-skinned, brother, and he said this man looked right at me and said, he said he muffed me. He said I could have let the muff go, but then he looked at me and he said, "You yellow hoe."
That's it. I gotta beat you. I gotta beat your ass.
He said I had no option.
Push the ultimate button.
I put him up against the thing. I was choking him out. I was ready to swing on him, but he was, he was choking him out. He said, I didn't even get a chance to go on our 7th grade trip. Like the 7th grade trip was the next week, and I didn't get to go. But I thought about it too. He was like, man, I want to go on this trip, but he just called me a yellow hoe in front of the whole class.
You gotta do what you gotta do, man.
I gotta.
As he who's been suspended for fighting from kindergarten through sophomore year, you gotta push that button. Oh, look, back to what you said though, right? So this is another thing they said. Photons, right, exist outside of time. This is what I heard from your friend, Dr. Tyson, right?
Okay.
Photons, the moment they're born, everything happens to them. Like if a photon leaves the sun, its life, birth, and death all happen simultaneously at the same time. It's only perceived if you have a quantum fluctuation, if you could stabilize a quantum fluctuation, you could have a photon exist in time. But photons don't exist in time. The moment they're born, they're also experiencing their death at the same time. So think about human life, right? We're experiencing this experience right now. But it's almost like a quantum fluctuation could have happened and somehow found a way to stabilize long enough for us to have experiences. But those experiences are what we call life. Because we are, at the end of the day, just photons.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, because so much of what we perceive ain't even real. Like, if you think about the brain makes predictions. We see stuff like a half a second after the brain already makes the decision. Or, because last week I had a bunch of my people on here. We talked about like all quantum mechanics, all the nerdy stuff. And it's like, if the decision is already made, and then you go do something, did you have free will? Or was it like the book? Was it already written in a book that you're just participating in? You're like the NPC in the book that's participating in a role that you think you have free will, but you really don't have free will. You know what I'm saying?
Listen.
Yes, it's the weed smoking section right here. All the weed smokers out there like, this is deep.
Listen.
They're hitting on something.
Because I'm like, okay, the idea that it's life and its death has all happened simultaneously, and only even the phrase quantum fluctuation, it sounds like somebody just made that up. You know, like somebody was just sitting there like, hey, we got to write this sci-fi movie and we need something. You ever watch The Flash? You watch The Flash, they be using what we need.
That's Hollywood though.
We need a coagulation.
Yeah, they did. No,
Brother,
Hollywood wilds out though. Hollywood does wild out. But I've heard Dr. Tyson talk about it though. That's the thing. He's like one of the baselines, right?
I appreciate that at the end of the day, and actually, when he came on our podcast, he talked about wanting to just be a physicist. He said, because he remembers, right, like it was a big deal that he was a black physicist,
right?
But he didn't want it to be like, you're a black physicist.
He's the black physicist.
Right.
We don't have many. Right?
Well, but at this point, he's the physicist, right? He's kind of reached that level where it's just like, if I want to know something about, physiology.
Because look, do this right now. All right, look. LeBron James, Michael Jordan, Gary Payton, Steph Curry, KD. All right, Dr. Tyson, name the other 4. And we both educators who run schools, right?
Katherine Johnson.
Okay, we got one from down in Houston. Okay. But even and
Emma, not Emma.
But look, when I said LeBron,
Meg
Jordan,
Jemison.
Steph Curry, KD, there was no there was no there was no thought. I still do this to this day when I go speak at like a university or if I speak at a college, anywhere I speak, I always do the same test. All right, name me 5 black basketball players. Everybody, da-da-da-da, cool. Name me 5 black actors. Da-da-da. Everybody goes, name me 5 black R&B singers that are female. Da-da-da. All right, for $100, name me 5 black physicists, 5 black bioengineers, 5 black, whatever, anything in the thinking realm. And all of a sudden, the air gets sucked out of the room.
The guy that created the Super Soaker.
The guy.
He created the Super Soaker. The guy that created the game cartridge.
Well, here's the thing.
For Nintendo.
A black person created everything. My challenge to people is go find something black people didn't create. Because when you find it, you be like, oh, okay, light bulb. Well, that was
the hair straightener was
like, why would a white person even need to invent a hair straightener, right? Like everything. If you think about it.
Garrett A. Morgan.
Look,
gas mask.
Okay. Everything, the internet, cell phones, touchscreen technology. I don't even know what Steve Jobs did except come along and package everything that black people created and was like, yo, iPhone. You know what I'm saying? But even iPhone is just a bunch of black creations put together, packaged to us in a way where now we got smartphones or dumb phones, depending on how it goes. We got these devices we use, but black people created everything about it.
Yeah.
There's everything about it, even down to Benjamin Banneker. My man had no education but built DC in a way where they can't rebuild it. What math did Benjamin Banneker know that we don't know right now? That he was able to build something that if it gets destroyed now, we can't rebuild it. That's the type of shit I'm talking about. Like, this that gas right here. It's that pressure.
I've never smoked weed, but I can only imagine that these would be the conversations that I would have.
No, when I was a weed smoker, this was not the conversations I had. These are educated. Believe it or not, these are educated conversations. When I'm around folks that's high, these are not the conversations.
Like my thing is like, okay, so you, Henry, I know you probably believe. Let me see. McDavid number 2 believe that
He number 2. Let me get a number 2 supersized.
Who
He's
do
taller than
you
me,
work
supersized.
like, so do you believe in that it's another you in a different universe doing something
Like a doppelganger?
Like a multiverse concept.
Yeah, sure.
I'm going to say no, I do not believe it, but I also am not so sure that it doesn't. Right? Like I don't actively place faith in it.
Mm-hmm. Look, I don't
but
necessarily
I don't.
know. I don't know if that's real or not, but I'm gonna tell you what I just experienced like 2 days ago.
I'm telling y'all, I'm looking at this camera right now, and it looks like 2 of the same person, different paths, right?
I mean, well, yeah, same womb, same womb. We made some different decisions. But look, there's a thing called I think they call it infinite. It has something to do with quantum mechanics that basically says it's like infinite mortality or something. Infinite mortality or something like that. Basically, it says if you die, consciousness doesn't want to die.
Correct.
Right. So then you don't actually. So in that world of like the multiverse, that version of you dies, but you never experienced that. You just experienced the you that survived. Like, so it'd be like this. I was driving down 90 the other day and I was really tired. And you get tired, you like do a little dip thing. Mm-hmm. I swear at a certain point, I like did the little dip but it felt like 10 minutes. And I didn't realize I was driving O'Hare and I didn't realize how I got down the street. I was like, yo.
Been there.
What the F just happened, right? And I was like, yo, I feel like, because there was these 2 cars that was coming up the side of me. And I felt like my car should have swerved either way. I should be dead right now. But I was alive and I was driving and I was like, what if in another world I did die?
I did die, yo.
Now what if I did die in another world? What if the me that's here right now is the infinite consciousness that was like, no, we're not ready to die. Like that version of you died, so now my family's mourning me in that world. But in this world, I'm here with my little brother on a podcast. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
That's crazy.
Okay. So check this out.
That's crazy.
Check this out. Since we gonna go there for just a second here. There's an episode of Community. It's one of my favorites because it happens and then they come back to it a couple seasons later. Jeff does not want to go get the pizza. So he says, okay, we're going to roll the die. And whoever it lands on will count 1 through 6, starting to my right. Whoever it lands on, you'll have to go get the pizza. And Abed's argument, right, is if you do that, you are creating an infinite world in which, depending on who gets the pizza, there's now 6 different ways that this could play out.
Yeah.
Right? 6 different incidences. And of course, Jeff is number 7, so Jeff never has to go get the pizza.
He's the roller of the die.
Right, exactly. He's the roller of the die. So then later, he always talks about it, Abed talks about it as the darkest timeline. I wonder what's going on in the darkest timeline, right? So in the darkest timeline, Chevy Chase's character dies. He gets shot in the leg.
Oh, wow.
Jeff loses his arm and
Wow.
right. So all these, and so then they want to reclaim their position. So they leave their darkest timeline to come back to the main timeline, and in order to try to eliminate them and take their spot. But I think about that, like every time I have to make this choice, I come to this fork in the road. If I choose to leave West Chicago and come back to Dekalb, I've just turned my life drastically, right, in this direction. But what would have happened?
Right. That's the question.
What is there a world in which I signed that contract instead of resigning, and now that is continuing it, right? It's addressed as well, again, to go back to Marvel, in the Loki series.
Oh yeah, TVA.
The TVA, right, where you have these timeline bridges, right, that kind of go off. It's interesting stuff, and it's stuff that we mostly think of now through the lens of Hollywood,
because
right?
Marvel brought it to the forefront.
Right.
Yeah.
But what we know is that in the midst of all of that, the little science somewhere, right? There's a little. I remember watching Independence Day and being like, and then hearing you talk about motherships, and I was like, wait a second. What if, like, eventually they're like, all right, white people, we've had enough of this.
The Dave Chappelle skit. By the way, aliens are real, and I'm out of here. Yeah, it's trippy. Like, it's definitely trippy. Like, it's just, I don't know. I don't have no answers.
Yeah,
I don't have no answers. That. Like, what if any decision, right? What if the girl, like, what if your children exist in this world? It was Wanda, right? Your children exist in this world, and the thing with the Scarlet Witch was, she lived on the one Earth where Wanda didn't have children. So her whole thing about being a Scarlet Witch was she saw in every other multiverse, she could see her children. But in the one that she lived in, she didn't have children. And that's where the whole Scarlet Witch thing came about. She was like, damn, I don't have children in this universe. But it's like, so because I heard, okay, this is super dope. I know we're about to run out of time. So look, this is super dope. I seen this thing on YouTube. There was these doctors, and I've only seen this one doctor talk about it, but he was talking about dreams. And he said, when you dream, what's actually happening? Is it in your imagination? Because the world we live in is somewhat of a hallucination already. And he said, what world is more real? The world we live in or the dream world? Like, when you dream, are you traveling to another place, having an out-of-body experience? Even if it doesn't make no sense to you, are you traveling to another place that's actually real, or another version of yourself, and you tapping in and you seeing something there and then coming back? Or is it just your imagination? Like, what's actually happening? Because what they found was, when they started measuring like the brain waves and stuff, that they were looking for people to be using their imagination, but the brain responds like it's actually happening. So is it, like, what is it? And here's the thing about too, in Islam, the Quran talks about Prophet Muhammad having what's called the night journey. In the night journey, it says that Prophet Muhammad, he was somewhere physical, but he was taken, Allah took his soul someplace else, right? That's right.
I mean, the same thing with John the Revelator, right? Like he's called up to the third heaven, right, or whatever,
in body, right?
Right.
So with Minister Farrakhan said that he was taken on the wheel, right? He said he was taken on the wheel, but he was in his body. The information he brought back was that the president met with the Joint Chief of Staff to have a war, and then Time Magazine came out with an article that said the president met with the Joint Chief of Staff to plan a war. Then the minister said part of that was the war was on two fronts, like not Muammar, not Libya, whatever it was at that time, and then like black youth. And then the thing came out that there was a war there and a war on black youth. So it starts getting trippy because it's like, wait a second, what exactly are dreams when we have dreams? Because the Bible says this, right? I learned this from a Christian pastor. There's a difference between dreams and visions. But the Bible said in the last days, men would dream dreams and some would have
and they would have visions.
Means they're not the same.
Right.
So if a
they're
vision
not the same.
is different from a dream, then like what's happening when we go to sleep? Like it's, I don't know, man. I don't have an answer. I just thought it was cool to bring up, but I don't know. I have no answer. It's just hitting the weed. That's all.
That young men shall dream dreams and old men shall see visions, and that there is this distinguishment between the two.
I don't know.
So I can tell you at one point in my life, I dreamed a dream that was so vivid. I was standing on a platform where the crowd sat on 3 sides. Mm-hmm. It looked like a youth convention type situation, and I was up on the platform, and I was I'm just gonna put this down. And I was preaching. Okay. Then I get a call about a month and a half later to come and preach at youth convention. Now, youth convention had always been the stage is back here, chairs, and then like seats over here. Yeah. I walk in, and all of a sudden that stage they've moved it.
Oh, wow.
For it to look exactly like, I mean, down to the decor on.
So like deja vu, or even more in depth than deja vu?
It was more in depth, right? You know, they say deja vu can happen when your experience that you're having in the moment moves accidentally through your memory part of your brain before coming into your present part of it. And so then, because it's moved through your memory part, it feels like a memory that you're experiencing right now. But this was at night, and I woke up. I only told my wife. I said, I had this dream. I said, you know what? And I don't know. It looked like youth convention, but youth convention isn't set up like this. I don't know. Maybe I'm going to be invited to speak somewhere. And then I got the call, got the invite, and walked in, and it looked, and I was like, okay.
Trippy.
Okay.
Trippy.
So I've had an experience like that where, you know, it was nothing major, nothing mind blowing, but I knew that I was supposed to be there in that moment, you know.
Yeah.
So
all right, I'm gonna share these 2 experiences with you before we get out of here. One was me and brother Tane, right? Back when our study group was still in Dekalb, we were in Dekalb and Rockford at the time. We were at Tane's house doing like a barbecue dinner or whatever. We was the last people hanging out. Tane goes, and this is Eden's Garden. Tane goes into, I don't know if you remember where he used to live at in a little white house, but he goes into the street and he calls my name. And I'm like, I'm getting food. I'm still maxing because, you know, when you're young and single, you got to eat when you got to eat. But this is like 2:00 in the morning. He calls my name and I got my plate and I walk out into the street where he's at. And Tane's he can't talk. He's just like pointing or whatever. And I look up and I'm like, man, what you talking about? I was like, it's just before I could get the words airplane out of my mouth, there was this huge object hovering and it turned over. And when it turned over, it was like that, but it was like windows of lights that lit up, but it wasn't like that's light. That's the light we know. It's light I've never seen before. Now, and this is not me hallucinating. Me and Tane can both verify deep down to the exact detail because I've never forgot this experience. It turned over. You could see all the lights. It was huge, but it was just floating over Eden's Garden. So we were looking like, and I could feel tears start to come down my eyes because I didn't know what I was looking at. But it didn't feel like, you know how people saw like an eerie feeling? It felt like jovial. So I seen it. I just had the plate, and I'm just looking. Tane's just looking. And it started to just move, right? It was just moving, and it wasn't like, it was kind of bouncing, but it was just like a smooth movement. And there was a tree, and it kind of went behind the tree. So we was like, let's just go follow it. We jumped in the car to follow it. We watched, eyes on it the entire time. It was like floating over this. It was like if this was the tree and we were watching it from this way, it went behind the tree like this, but it never came out the other side. It was just gone. So we were sitting there looking like, what just happened? Like, all that. But to this day, I'm glad it happened with Tane, because everybody would think I'm damn crazy.
Right.
But I'm like, listen, I thought it was an airplane at first. I was about to ridicule Tane, and then it turned over. It was like, it looked like that, but it turned over, and it was just lights. And I was like, from that point forward, I was like, I don't care what nobody say about UFOs. Whatever that was, it wasn't identified. You know what I'm saying? Like that thing, and it didn't make noise. But it was literally like 2:00 in the morning in Eden's Garden. So I'm like, we seen something. All I know is I can't, even now talking about it, like I still get like choked up a little bit because it's like, I don't know. I can't explain it, right? So I had that experience happen. Then the second experience I had happen off into this fringe science world. When we had the beauty supply store, Keshonda, so I'm gonna tell you, so we were poor, right? Everybody knows we were poor, very, right? So we used to rent vehicles. We never got insurance when we were renting a vehicle because why would we do that? So Brother William, right?
Why would we do that?
We just took a chance, like, you know what I'm saying? Brother William comes and he tells me on this day, like the day before, he's like, hey, I don't know what you got going on. He's like, there's a brother in New York. He's never met you. This brother said that the Honorable Elijah Muhammad told him to tell you to get insurance on that truck. And he also told me to tell you that Master Farad Muhammad loves you. He was a founder of the Nation of Islam. So I was like, he told it for me? He's like, he named you specifically. And I was like, I've never met this brother in my life. So we get the insurance, right? The very next day, I'm sitting in the parking lot. We're moving stuff into the beauty supply store. I'm sitting in the parking lot. The police roll up. And the police was like, hey, we're looking for Keshonda, right? And I'm like, for Keshonda? What the hell? You know what I'm saying? What's going on? They're like, she's been involved in a hit and run. And I'm like, ain't no way in hell she's involved in a hit and run. Like 2 minutes later, lo and behold, U-Haul truck comes. It's Keshonda with the U-Haul truck. But there's this huge like damage to the back of the truck. And so what happened was the truck was at the police, not the police department, the truck, she went to get gas, but she wasn't used to driving something that big. You know, like those big metal U things that are there?
Yeah.
When she went to turn, it clipped part of the U-Haul, but she didn't even feel it. She just kept pushing. She just thought it was like turbulence or whatever. So they said it was a hit and run, but she said she didn't even notice it. She got there, she talked to police, whatever, and it's like, all right, you gotta go to court. And actually the case ended up getting thrown out, right? But U-Haul said, if U-Haul wouldn't have got insurance on this thing, then you would have, I think that the cost of repair was like $25,000, and we wouldn't have been able to open a beauty supply store. But because that brother sent that message, we got the insurance, and that's the first time, but since that time, I've never rented a car without insurance.
Yeah.
Right? Because I didn't know if that was specific to that incident,
right,
or something way in the future. So now I always get insurance, but I have more money now. But at that time, we never got insurance on a rental vehicle, whether it's a U-Haul, Enterprise, Hertz, whatever. We never got it because it was like, we can't afford it. We poor. You know what I'm saying? That little $30, we need that little 30.
Yeah,
you know
I can
what I'm
either
saying?
put gas in the car,
you feel me?
Because if I got an insured vehicle and no gas,
they ain't gonna give
we
you
still ain't getting nowhere.
So yeah, we had that experience happen, and that shit was trippy. Like when it happened, I remember just trying to process it, like what just happened? You know what I'm saying? Like it literally saved the beauty supply store.
Yeah.
And we were only able to open, which leads us to the school where we're at right now. If we wouldn't have got insurance, would the three of us be in this room having this conversation right now? Butterfly effect, right?
Right.
Just that single thing of getting that. And then the only reason I did it, even when brother was telling me the story, I was like, so you want me to believe some random believer in New York who's never met me? Okay, he asked for me by first name. We got Facebook, we got Instagram, whatever. He could have seen me anywhere, right?
Right.
He could have had a dream, and maybe he saw my page or something and had this dream. So the Honorable Elijah Muhammad told him to tell me. Because then my thought was like, so if the Honorable Elijah Muhammad is, I was like, why does he care about me? You know what I'm saying? Like, it's just little old me. It's like, but for whatever reason, when he told me, I was like, all right, I'm going to take his word and see. And the next day, less than 24 hours later, I was like, there's some shit going on I don't understand.
That I don't understand.
I don't understand.
And I think that if we got to end, let's end on this concept that the humility to say, I don't know, is the basis of excellent leadership.
Absolutely.
It's the basis of learning.
Absolutely.
It's the basis of knowledge, right? Because again, right, like we was talking about math researchers, the whole concept of a researcher is, I don't know.
Yeah. Nah, for real.
That's it.
Yeah.
Well, look, y'all, I know, this episode went fringe science quick, but we did give y'all a lot of education though, right? It did. So maybe next time I have my brother bring Lisette out, right? They got their own podcast. Promote your podcast right quick.
Yeah, podcast is Black, Brown, and Bilingue, and we are promoting unity between
bilingue?
bilingue.
So all this time I've been calling it black and bilingual.
Yeah, Black, Brown, and Bilingue. Bilingue is how you say bilingual in Spanish.
He knows Spanish, not me. I
And
know
so promoting unity between the Black and Brown community through storytelling. And so, we've had some dope folks on there. We're on Spotify, YouTube. Follow us on Facebook, all of those good things.
That's what's up. I've been on there, y'all. I was on there a long time ago. They never invited me back, though. It was like, hell no, nigga.
That's what she said, actually. She quoted it. I said, listen, hold on. Who gave you the pass?
I told her, I said, if you show up to my pod today, I'm calling ICE. And she said she was calling the cook cops. So I was like, touche. Well played.
Yeah.
This is my little brother, y'all, so you can check us. One last thing for a guy. What's crazy is every time I go places, people be like, oh, you're Maurice's brother. And it's crazy. Same thing happened to him in the reverse.
They'd be like, oh,
right?
Brother Henry? CEO Brother Henry? That's your brother?
Yeah, it's crazy. So that's how I know. Now, my youngest brother, Justin, I got to get him on the podcast. I get him some motion. I'm going to put him in something because Justin be like, They never asked for me. I'm like, yo, okay, we gonna get you in the mix. We gonna get you in the mix. But yo, I enjoyed this. Have my little brother here. Is different. Hey, he automatically in Wakanda. I had a bunch of Wakanda questions, but this was just too good. I didn't want to go into the Wakanda stuff. So, man, this is hustle and humor. You already know how we give it up out here. Before we go, one last thing. You got anything else you want to promote? Books?
Make sure for sure that you check out SEMAofIllinois.com. That's our website. We do lots of professional development for schools, and then CIMA of Illinois.com. That's a good
I was thinking
piece there.
SIEMA.
Yeah, SEMA is the Spanish word for mountaintop, and then I have been to the mountain. Anyways, okay, and then also check out the book Your Words Are Fire by Lisette Jacobson and Maurice McDavid, available on Amazon.
All right, Lisette, we see you out here. You didn't make it to the pod, but we're not going to, next time you come to the pod, though, you have to take that chance. You have to take that test to Wakanda. DC said,
Definitely.
DC said, Maurice can get a pass off my bloodline, but you got to earn your way into Wakanda. So Lisette, we looking for you. Tell her I said next time, pull up.
For sure.
But y'all, I enjoyed this episode. This was definitely a bunch of fun. Hey, man, we'll be back next week. Make sure y'all check out the Great Conversation podcast. My boy DC out here.